always give my vote.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Rhino.
Dude, my bad. My bad. I like this show better. There we go. I knew I did something wrong. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. We are here. It's the weekend. All I was saying is Dennis is teeing off in the chat and just letting it go. He's been waiting until 1:58. We'll get to him. But no, my big question is, and way to make it to Friday, we've got a fun show, Royal Rumble. You can talk about anything you want. Appreciate you. Sorry about that, y'all. I actually have a show update. It's a little bit of breaking news. It goes to the quality of the show. We'll talk about it on the other side. But this is what I was asking you. Are we having Kings fatigue? Is anybody fatigued right now by this team? Because it's only going to intensify as we get closer to the trade deadline. You've got a big game, which is a must-win tomorrow in New Orleans. And I gotta, or tomorrow here in Sacramento against New Orleans, I gotta say, Grant's rant last night might have been the best rant I have ever heard from him. Now, I get the fat lady on the plane one's pretty good. I get the meter ramps are pretty good. But if you're going legit, real, I'm not saying Grant's rants aren't real. They're real. And off the top of his head, he doesn't plan that stuff out. But he articulated, I think, a large majority of the fan base's feelings in a 7-minute segment. So I've got it. We'll probably listen to it again, or I'm going to try to play it. I don't want the show to get screwed up if I play it. Sometimes we have issues. But I want to think about that. And yes, we will entertain a couple of the things with the Fox conversation only because now it's time for De'Aaron to start talking to members of the media, to have these informal conversations. Like, now is the time? Couldn't have done that when you were in Sacramento? You know, it's pretty simple. Call up a show if those are the people you want to talk to. It's kind of silly to me. Anyways, Super Bowl weekend. What are you doing for the Super Bowl? I've got some thoughts on the Super Bowl, and they are not necessarily football related. We will have some fun with that as well. And Super Bowl party etiquette. There is an etiquette to going to Super Bowl parties. I'm going to help you out. You are welcome in advance. There's a few things you just can't do if you're going to somebody else's party. And if you're hosting a party, I guess the rules are a little bit different. But if you are going to a party, you're welcome for tuning into this show. So let's have some fun. Get in here. Royal Rumble Friday, meaning you can take the show any direction you want to go. Start calling now. We'll bring up multiple people at a time. Let's get into it. First show of the day. Grant will be here at 8 o'clock. So let's hit it. Lots to talk about. Buyout market, Kings, where you at, fatigue-wise. Let's get it on the other side. Welcome in. Court in session on If You Don't Like.
Grant and Ryan break it down. It's Sacktown, we're the crown.
Needs to be more aggressive on the offensive end, but this is the kind of
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
So sources close to the Ryan in Sacktown household have confirmed that Mrs. Ryan in Sacktown has approved the purchase of a new webcam. So for all those worried about my flickering camera last night, it will be taken care of. In fact, it should be arriving anytime. So tomorrow we will be good to go on that. Happy Friday. Welcome in. What's up? Super Bowl weekend. Who you got? Some of the sports books have it as a pick 'em. Shout out to Nate Robinson, by the way. Well, a couple of people. I'm not going to go into detail on this, but Nate Robinson is getting his kidney transplant as we speak. So very happy for him. Man, I've got some crazy Nate Robinson stories. Actually, I have one that I'll share. It kind of doubles off of the Brandon Roy story that I've shared in the past. And also Eric Armstead, local product, Elk Grove, Sacramento product. Shout out Elk Grove. By the way, where's everybody watching? I'm going to call you out. I want to see where you're at. But Eric Armstead, he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award last night for the NFL. To me, that is more important than the MVP. So congratulations to Eric Armstead. Hell of an honor. That is a class of its own. That is like the Heisman fraternity, maybe even more important. So really cool for Eric. Very excited about that. Only bad thing was Eric was a 49er, there's that. And then this whole thing last night, having to lose to Haunted Horses team, not always my favorite thing to do in the world. Kings fans, sky's falling. This team's screwed. Timeline's getting blown up by a lot of people. You said the Kings would be better without Fox, bro. Man, 2 games. Give it a little more sample size, but there are some areas for concern. There definitely are. We're going to talk about them here in a few minutes. We'll talk about New Orleans as well. By the way, you haven't seen this New Orleans team this season. You have not seen this iteration of New Orleans. In fact, that team they built in the offseason, they never played together. Crazy. Now, Brandon Ingram, obviously in Toronto, that changes things to a degree, but get up in here. Who's going to be the first caller? Who's leading off today? Let me know. Get on the show. Want to hear from all of you. Let's hit the chat. Who is it? It's progressive. I'll go from first to last, or I'm going to go first to last, newest to last. Doing it better. Horses Blazers looked good. I mean, kind of. They only scored 108 on the Kings, kind of. I'm not ready to anoint the Blazers as better as the Kings, especially when we go to the whiteboard. I watched the game again. Holy crap, man. And what I said last night on the postgame show stands. I will repeat it later in the show. We'll talk about it. We do have some audio from Doug Christie after last night. Understandably disappointed. Mr. Christie, paging Mr. Christie. Your head coaching job starts now. The rubber's going to hit the road. And I know some information came out today. I will acknowledge it from Dave, somebody that I greatly respect. He had an off-the-record conversation with Fox. He shared a text message, and he talked about something within the coaching staff. So, Doug, here we go. Here we go, Doug. And I know it's not related exactly to what Dave alluded to, but he is correct. There's been a lot going on with this team. A lot going on. So, Dennis, who has been just teeing off, I think he's got like 20 comments. Hey, Dennis, Ben Simmons, my man, Kings ain't on the list. He wants to go to a stable situation. Clippers, Rockets, also the Cavaliers. 3 teams that Ben is meeting with today. So we'll see how that shakes out. We've got 35 options for the buyout market. We will go to that as well. Portland, Oregon, home of the 10. Oh my gosh, dude. And exactly how many people in Portland are paying attention to it? I'm actually curious. I know Chad is. I'm happy for Chad. I am so happy that Chad is getting some content right now. Chad's a great dude. Love Chad. He's a local host up there in Portland, covers the Blazers. So good for him. But I would be very interested to talk to Chad. He was on this channel before the first meeting, or the second meeting between the Blazers and the Kings. Where's Grant? Grant will be here at 8 o'clock tonight. Grant is doing an open forum show. My name is Ryan in Sacktown. Rhino, whatever you want to call me. I am the daytime host. I'm lucky enough to have a daily show that I host on his platform. But we do team up for post-game shows with Jerry Reynolds, and in between. But yeah, Grant here, 8 o'clock tonight. If you want to join him, open forum. As far as I know, till airtime, he was still good to go. The doctor has cleared Grant. No more voice management. He should be all right tonight. Hopefully PK can show up to clear that voice up for him. That always helps. Dennis, I'll get to all your stuff. Yep, Laravia, number 33. Y'all giving salutations to each other. Adam, fatigued. We've been fatigued for decades and decades. Yeah, you're right, Adam.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
It is a pick'em at some books. It is, but I'm not concerned about the line. I'm concerned about some of the other stuff. That's what intrigues me. That's the fun part of the Super Bowl. What's everybody doing for the Super Bowl, by the way? Hosting a party, going to a bar. What's it going to be? This kid, well, I'm being generous by calling him kid, but he hit a massive parlay the last time these two teams met. So he is probably, I know he's hitting that up again. What's up, Furious? Happy to have you here on a Friday. What's everybody doing? Yeah, it is a Freaky Friday, no doubt. New Orleans is going to be tough. Agree? Absolutely. If Portland's tough, New Orleans is going to be tough. All right, we have got a lot to get to still in the chat. I want to hear from you. Whoever called left, get back in here. Come on, use the number 916-822-9485. Hit the link in the chat. Again, you can take the show any direction. Usually the first call sets the tone, and I am prepared for certain things. And hey, chat, when you do this,
Say his name and he appears.
it happens. And you know who I'm talking about. PK, I don't have a dump button, but I do now have a drop that I am going to drop on your earth if anything comes out that should not come out. Why'd you learn to talk like this? I'm going to drop that on you, my man, but I'm going to go to him. He has been on his best behavior the last couple of shows. Let's give him the liberties. PK, teeing off first. What's up, dude?
Hey, Ryan. I'm going to give you something like outside stats. I don't care about stats. I don't care about anything. I love this team, and I like that they're fighting, and I like that they did not give up at the trade deadline. People who say that they were going to sell off and trade Sabonis, trade whatever. I do not care. I love that this team is going to fight, and we're going to watch another 31 games. Thank you.
You're welcome. PK, dude. He's getting better. I'm getting why he's growing on me. He's getting better. I like it. He'll probably be back for seconds. He usually does. What's up, Rock? Jonas is funny. I thought the Kings around him last night were funny. He was a little gassed too. By the way, I love his mindset. He had 48 hours to report. He was in Sacramento like immediately. He made the decision that he wanted to play that soon. He said, we got work to do. We got to make the playoffs. I like it. Love it. And by the way, it is nice for him to be on the bench. Like usually when Sabonis fouls out, it's like, here we go. Done. Can't happen. And I said on the postgame show last night, it's the guard's fault that Sabonis is fouling out. And I 100% stand by that. In fact, I even put it a little bit on Doug Christie at this point. And we'll get into it here in a little bit. But having Valanciunas there makes a huge difference. He got some really good looks, by the way, right off the bat. Right off the bat. He shot 4 shots within like 2 minutes. It was nuts. I've got thoughts, though, too. I've got my thoughts written down. The problem that you have is this team cannot function without Malik Monk on the court. They can't function. That's a problem. I hope I don't kill your first name. Juris? Hopefully I said that right. Any players you think will get signed by the deadline, or excuse me, in the buyout market, I think the Kings have to be active for a point guard. There's no ifs, ands, ors about it. And hell, they might do more than a point guard with what they have to work with financially. We're going to go over all of that on today's show. Do we really think this team is currently constructed with some coaching changes and chemistry growth can go somewhere? What's our ceiling if we maximize our roster? I think your ceiling is the Western Conference Finals. I think that is your ceiling. I don't see you getting past the Western Conference Finals. And that's assuming you bring a point guard in that works. That's my ceiling. What's all your ceilings? Let me know. Rochambeau for it. Oh, yeah. Jonas is being introduced. So is Jake LaRavia. I'm not going to cover that stuff. I don't. Zach Levine, yes. There's not much to cover there. Unless you want coverage of it, I think there's more important things to talk about. So acknowledge some people.
Acknowledge me.
Dude, he might. You never know with that dude. You never know with that creep. He might have some inside knowledge. Who knows what he does to have to get it? I just don't know. Fatigue. Ask me every night, NBA, 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. Let me tell you about fatigue. Baki, you're a different cat, dude. Baki, I'm convinced that your house doesn't have windows. Instead of windows, you have TVs. So if you want to look outside, you just put a screensaver up. Other than that, it is basketball. I respect it, Baki. It's a lifestyle for you. You know what you're talking about. That's why you get a lot of runarounds here. And your daughter, man, dude, I love Tadora. Her holy moly Jimbaboli might be better than Jerry's holy moly Jimbaboli. Yes, press conference right now. If you guys want me to tune into it, I will tune into it. Let's tap in. Give me a second. We will pull it up. I just Monty's not going to answer anything. What's Jonas going to do? Jake there holding his jersey up. What are you going to ask Jake? He's a backup wing. Are you happy to be in Sacramento? Do you expect to get more playing time? How do you think you will integrate with this team? Now, I'm a little bit more interested in what Valanciunas says, but I don't think I need to hear it. I already know what that dude's about. He gets it. He can play good basketball. He really can. And look, Doug Christie, and we're going to get to it in a minute, but Doug Christie has got some major decisions to make. And I mean major decisions. This whole concept of I don't want to teach my team a play. I want to teach them how to play. That's great when a team has been together for 2.5 years, when the core has been together for 2.5 years. That's great when it's the preseason. You've got 31 games left and you are a game under 500. There is no time to let them learn how to play together and teach them how to play together. You have got to mix some structure in. What I saw last night And I gave the first night a pass because Levine was fresh off the plane, hadn't played in 2 games. The team's first game back off of an East Coast road trip. I let the Orlando offense slide. And actually, the offense in the first half of the Orlando game was a lot better than I saw last night. Last night was pathetic from this team offensively. It was pathetic. And I've got the whiteboard up. We'll go over it. And defensively, oh my gosh, it's a problem. Crashing Rhino's Super Bowl party. Dude, good luck. There is no Super Bowl party here. Let me tell you, the wifey does not like football. Not a football fan, but I might be able to get her to watch. Uh-oh. Are you guys ready for this early of a dose of this guy? I don't know if I'm ready for this early of a dose of this guy.
It's me. Can you hear me?
I got you.
Oh, good. You never know, man, which microphone is. What's up, everyone? I gotta be early. I got my my mom coming in. She's flying in the next 45 minutes, so I gotta be early. I wanted to call in last night, but I was exhausted, and I didn't know that Grant wanted to deal with me. Honestly, so happy with the Blazers. We are a hot team. Everyone in the chat last night, I watched the whole show, was saying, "Oh, this is a train wreck and everything." You guys ran into a hot team. I'm thinking that they were thinking they lost to the Blazers as of 2 months ago, right? That team that was struggling. I hear my wife's speaker in the back, but it's distracting. Anyway, sorry. This team is really clicking right now. So you guys ran into a good team at their house, and you guys have 2 big new pieces. Levine looks very uncomfortable. He doesn't know his team yet. That's gonna happen. It just is. He doesn't know where they're gonna be or where they're gonna go. It just makes sense. And then Jonas looks fantastic, but he hasn't played with these guys yet. So, and you didn't get blown out by the hot team. So I think you guys are moving in the right direction. The Fox trade, absolute the right thing to do. You guys got 2 good pieces, and yes, you do need a better distributor point guard if one should fall into your lap. So I think your team is doing great, and I'm a Kings fan after the Blazers because of you.
Hey, there you go. Second team. Years, you have.
And I've picked up what goes on, and Sacramento is a former home of mine. I grew up down there. So I think you guys are moving in the right direction. The wrong thing would have done to be, and now in hindsight, we know there was no option, but the wrong thing would have been to hold on to Fox and try to make this work somehow. And it just wasn't going to.
It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, break it off, add 2 new pieces, and I think in 10 games, you're going to see whether or not you guys are going to go forward or you're going to have to make some more adjustments in the offseason. I think this team looks fun. Jonas and Sabonis, I want to see them on the floor together, Twin Towers, man. I know it's not going to be for big extended periods of time, but I would love to see that.
I don't disagree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Especially if the Kings are going to be running zone as much as they are.
Right.
Put Jonas in the middle of the zone, man.
Yeah, and on offense, put Jonas under the basket for the rebounds and let freaking Sabonis fire a 3. I just think that's an awesome looking. You guys went from being small to much bigger. So anyway, Zach Zilla, I love it. So anyway,
Zach Zilla
earlier. Hey, Baki, good to see you. I saw you last night. You were not happy, and your microwave was really angry.
Yeah, Baki, you have a fan, dude. That's crazy.
Baki's microwave.
Baki's microwave.
I love that.
Is now a handle on this show. Yeah, so incredible. Super Bowl, which way? I don't need 10 minutes on it, but which way are you going?
I'm leaning. I think the Eagles should win. They look better across the board. Their personnel looks better. The only reason I would say that the Eagles can lose if they start to overthink. They're within a score. They're going in the 4th quarter. They start to pucker up, and then Kansas City will be loose. Unless they're being blown out by 3 scores, they're going to be loose. Whether it's with it, and they just got the confidence because they've done it over and over and over again. If it's close, I give the edge to them. The Eagles have got to jump up on them and then pound the ball in the 4th quarter with Saquon.
The Eagles got to keep
the option.
The Eagles got to keep 15 off the field.
Is that Mahomes? I don't even know his number.
Yes, it's Mahomes.
Okay. I don't know what his number is.
They got to keep 15 off the field for sure.
Or be up so big and then pound it with and I don't even say pound it with Saquon every play. Run the option so you don't know if the quarterback's going to keep that defense, and then go vertical with AJ Brown.
I'm kind of with Adam. Do you have a fanny pack on too?
I do not. No, I'm wearing shorts though. I just got done with my workout, man.
I'm just kidding.
Workout. I had my workout. I had my after workout omelet, and I'm like, if I'm going to get in here, I got to get in here now. You know, PK, me, who's next? Who can follow us?
I know it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough.
Nobody.
You got in before my King's thoughts. Wow.
Does Dennis
Pretty
ever call in here?
Yes, he does.
Dennis needs to be. That would be the perfect trio. PK, Horse, and Dennis. That is gold.
Well, I could do Dennis's call right now if you want.
Do it. He's gonna.
Hey, Rhino!
That last night he made
Rhino!
a bet for both of us.
Rhino, I told you. Rhino, it's exactly what I wanted, Rhino. I told you. Later, Rhino.
He says we made a bet before the game. He's like, so if I win, you owe me this. And I'm like, it takes two people. No, I made the bet on the show. It's a bet. Okay, well, if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, you owe me $1 million. So, because I made the bet for you.
Acknowledge me.
Hey, by the way, congratulations to you and Grant. This channel hit 8,000 subscribers. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah,
it's continuing to grow. Proud of you guys. You've grinded. You've definitely earned your spot. And I want to see 10,000 next.
Yeah, we're trying for it, brother. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Putting the work in him.
Everyone have. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say we can't do it without all of you. Thank you.
I think we could time that better since we do a few shows a week. I don't have a show tonight. Nothing to plug. But I will say this: everyone have a wonderful, safe Super Bowl. Don't drink and drive, please. Find a designated driver. Let's all stay safe out there. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and whoever's rooting for whatever, hope your team wins, or hope we have a good game. And take care and have a good. Congratulations on getting a new camera.
Yes, that's a big deal. You know my wife, bro.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
Throw in there. What kind of bribe did you throw in there? Are you gonna do extra dishes and wash laundry, or I don't know?
You know, there were some date night considerations and a second laundry weekend swap. So we got it figured out.
Quarterback, John Finch. I thought Mahomes was the running back.
Mahomes?
He's making fun of me. Mahomes?
Later, buddy. Haunted Horse kicking us off. Look, I told you I could do Dennis's call. Now Dennis dropped off. All right, Dennis, you're gonna make me do all the heavy lifting. I got it. I got y'all.
Great success.
Haunted Horse dropping in. I think he had some action on last night's game too. You know, Haunted Horse. He doesn't watch as much basketball as he does football. And the second that play happened with Valanciunas, the verticality play, where the Blazer just bounced off Valanciunas, Haunted Horse is hitting me up and he's like, bro, it's going to get overturned. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, that's not getting overturned because I'd only seen, hold on. I'm going to pull a Katie. Allow me. I'd only seen a couple of angles. I didn't see the angle of him going side to side. He was completely vertical, but he did jump forward. So Haunted Horse ended up being right on that. And yes, thank you to everybody that is a part of this channel for helping us get to 8,000 subscribers and growing. We cannot thank you enough. It's all because of you guys and the likes and spreading the word about this channel and the way the programming's growing in this community. This is like one of those hidden communities that not a lot of people know about. It's not a community where you got to pay to get on screen or get a question answered. It's not a community that I'm just going to talk at you for 3 hours. It's really interactive. And I like to think it's pretty fun too. And every show we seem to get one more viewer, which means we will keep doing the show. So thank you. Appreciate it. Again, if you want to get in on the show, call the show. You can hit the link that is floating around in the chat. I'm also monitoring The OG line, 916-822-9485. So we've got a lot going. I've got tons of thoughts on last night. We're going to go to the whiteboard here in a little bit. First, I want to play Doug Christie's thoughts from last night. Here is what Doug Christie thought about the performance, what's next, adjustments. And remember, Doug was extremely disappointed coming off of the Orlando game. Very disappointed with the effort. Here is Doug Christie. Caller, we'll get to you next.
Extremely tough one. On a back-to-back, this is the effort that I want to see from them. Our guys fought on the back-to-back, and that's what I like to see. But what we have to take another step at now is the attention to detail. Winning time, too many offensive rebounds, go under on the screen with Anthony Simons, I believe. I have to look at the film. He knocks down pretty much every shot that he took. Those are the little things that are going to be the difference in us winning and losing ball games. But as we continue to figure our way with new guys and all of that, I'm extremely confident that our guys will figure it out and play at a really high level. Acknowledge me. Disappointed, yes, but continue to build and push.
Coach, what did you make of Jonas Valanciunas' impact? Guy just kind of freshly came in with the squad, but it seemed like he was very active out there.
Yeah, 5 rebounds for him, 6 points. It's difficult because there are certain things that you want to do offensively and defensively, and he's just trying to figure his way out there, what different defensive coverages are, what plays are. So everything has to be, pretty vanilla and super simple until he starts to get the lingo and all the different things out there on the floor. But all in all, he's an incredible competitor. Love what he brings to the team, and I think everybody in that locker room respects him. So he's going to be just fine.
And played a really, really competitive Blazer team. Won 6 games in a row. Just kind of touch on how you said the details really do matter for you guys' squad, but especially in a conference that's so competitive.
Yeah, it's that's going to be the difference in winning and losing ball games. Kamara was flagged in pregame and personnel clips and everything that we showed the guys that, he is running full speed in to get offensive rebounds. He's going to flop around and do a lot of different things. And that's how he affects the ball game. You can't let him affect the ball game that way. And I'm sure we're going to look at it, and guys are trying to help. And, you get caught with your eyes looking at the ball, and all of a sudden here he comes full speed. And that's the attention to detail where you just have to stay in your coverage, know that guy is not getting the basketball, make sure that you hit him. But we'll be better. I know these guys, they want to win at an extremely high level. Our organization has put us in position to do that, and that's what we're going to do.
I think that last point is mildly debatable, Doug. You don't have a true point guard on the roster, but we have all show to talk about that. Before we do, let's go to Al. Al, what's up, man?
Hey, Ryan. I just want to say first, I was disappointed that Torrey Holt, man, got passed over again. This is like his 7th year as a finalist, man. It looks like he's going to end up being, what fall back on the seniors committee because he can't make the cut.
Why do you think that is?
And
because you're a Rams fan. Why do you think that is?
It surprises me because the greatest show on turf, most of the heavy hitters, Warner, Fox, Orlando Pace, Bruce, they're all in. And, I just don't know. I think, everybody has their snubs and their favorites, I went back and looked at he's an all-decade for the 2000 decade. And I went back and looked, and there's 4 receivers. He was a second team. And Moss, Owens, and I forget the other guy. They're all in the Hall of Fame. And then there's 3 running backs in the Hall of Fame, and the 4th guy who isn't played for your team. You probably know who I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm trying.
Sean Alexander?
Sean Alexander's not in?
No.
Holy crap. Well, I guess it's short career, right? Like that short span in a very concentrated time of good football. I guess that's part of the argument.
You know, and that is an argument that goes, that's a Terrell Davis, a Gale Sayers going way back, you know, whereas other guys, is it short and spectacular like Lynn Swan, or do you go with the longevity? You know, but everybody, it's a human factor, you know, and as a fan, you know, I just wanted to really hope to see him get in, but you know, it's everybody's got an opinion. And I just want to ask you, can you, in layman's terms, explain to me at NBA, when NBA teams buy out a player, how exactly that process works out? Does it happen during a particular time during the season? Is it very common during the trade, when the trade deadline's coming to an end, because teams got to really shuffle their rosters, or can it be done anytime during the year? Can you kind of explain that to me a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. It is super common after the trade deadline. Now, I believe it. I'm not sure exactly. I don't want to tell you one way or the other. I'm pretty sure you can do it most of the season, depending on it depends on each player's contract. But the idea of buying out a player is bringing on you're taking their salary off for another team. You know, you're not going to keep them. You buy them out at a cost. So whatever you're getting from the other team, in addition to the player you're going to buy out, that's considered the compensation. Now, as far as what you can do going towards the cap, what you can do with, I don't know, if you get a benefit, let's just put it that way, from buying somebody out, it's basically giving them, and they understand when they're getting traded that it's going to be a haircut thing, because you're giving them the opportunity to go play as well. So it's a common way for other teams to get big contracts off the books with older guys and get them out there for veteran minimums. And I believe you can get some trade exceptions as well. So it's just a way to free somebody up.
Okay, thanks for that. I just wasn't quite understanding the whole buyout and that process. The NBA sure got some weird, protected picks. I'm glad the NFL doesn't do that nonsense with the protected picks, because, you know, either it's the pick or it's not, you know, but then it falls back on the lottery, and don't get me started on that. I'd like to see it go away, but it won't. So anyway, thanks for taking my call, man. Have a good one.
You're the best, Al. Enjoy the Super Bowl, brother.
Yeah, I'll be watching.
Love it. Good job there by Al. Yeah, it's funny how it works with the buyout market. It's a contract that teams know nobody is going to pay. So a lot of times you will get, and you don't see it in the form of players, you usually see it more in the form of picks on the back end when you take on a salary like that. Think about it this way, you're paying for draft picks. What you're paying to buy that player out, Al, you are basically, that's the cost to get the draft picks from the team that's trading you that player. That's the easiest way that I can put it into a couple of sentences. By the way, I see some new names in here, and I love it. I absolutely love it. What's up, Sacktown Carl? That's awesome. Now, there's a couple names that I see in here. By the way, there is another dog in the King's Court. I can't say what the dog is. I can't put it on screen, but welcome, Dom Dog. I'm going to call you Dom Dog. Welcome to the party. Big you-know-what. Welcome. Happy to have you guys here, gals here, as we go along on a Friday. Look, we've got some complaints about language, so it's not that it necessarily bugs me, because I run a different show than Grant. My show's a little bit more loose. We have sound bites. We joke around, especially on Fridays. But I am trying to be cognizant of that because I have been told there are a lot of parents that are allowing their kids to watch this show. So just remember that. And this guy knows it. Let's go to him really quick. The most fascinating thing about talking to this guy is getting lost in his background. It's not a green screen. It's legitimate. It's his room. I don't know if he ever leaves it other than for work. He's gaming. He's got everything he needs in there. I bet he's got like a microwave by his feet, a refrigerator under the bed. Like there has to be. Corn Dog, what's up, dude?
Hey, yo, what's up, everyone?
Oh, you know what? You're gonna get a full screen because I want everybody to look at what I always look at. I love it in the background. There we go.
Yeah, I'm still in the middle of some room remodeling. Coming back from Maryland and stuff, and being sick and stuff, put that on hold. So I did put up a new shelf right here on top of that one, another box shelf. So I had this old one on top, but I'm probably going to get rid of that. I just need to get rid of it and move the stuff that I'm just using it to hold right now, but I'm a work in progress.
Santee. All right. I love it. A little San Diego action. Little South County. All right. I see you.
Did you?
Or is that North? Maybe. Go ahead.
Did you even watch the Royal Rumble?
Yes, I did watch the Royal Rumble, and I was lit that one of the viewers of the post-game show put the winner of the Royal Rumble in the chat. I was lit about that.
Yeet.
Dude, he's I gotta tell you, he's pretty over, man. His whole entrance on Monday Night Raw after he won, holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, right now I believe Jey Uso is the highest merch seller from this last year, and so I totally see why they gave him the Rumble win. You get the engine's red hot. You just gotta like that match.
No doubt.
Same thing, like John Cena was not a planned superstar, but he got so over, they had to start. It's one of those guys, yeah, there's planned ones, like Triple H and, others, but sometimes guys are just so over that they have to, they gave Mankind a win because he was just so over with fans, there's some guys you just have to roll with what the crowd wants. And I really enjoyed the men's rumble. Actually, they did really good. The women's rumble, I just wish they didn't give it to Charlotte.
Yeah. There goes the camera. I told y'all we've got a new camera that's arriving any second. Yeah, I think that they did it on purpose with Charlotte because obviously she was going to come back a heel. I think you could kind of tell from the promos. That's not a babyface promo when you're getting on the jets, you're riding in a Rolls Royce. She's obviously had some type of cosmetic surgery. Whatever. I look, you gotta keep making stars. I'm okay with Jay. What I loved about the women's Royal Rumble was Roxanne Perez.
Yes.
Getting that much run and being in the last two. Well done. They're doing a great job with long-term storytelling. So good job by them.
Yeah. When WWE hits long-term storytelling, they hit it. Like you can get guys like Undertaker and stuff like forever. Like if they hit the right nail at the right time with the right guy, they can do it better than any TV show writer can, honestly.
No doubt, dude. Super Bowl, who you got?
Saquon Barkley.
You're going Saquon, huh? Look, you keep 15 off the field, you can win the game. I just can't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
I can when the best offensive player is not on the Chiefs this time. The best offensive player is on the Eagles. Any other time the Chiefs have played, having Mahomes, they've had the best offensive player. But this year, the best offensive player was, even though he didn't win MVP, should have, in my opinion. But, quarterback versus running back award.
Yeah.
Saquon was the best offensive player this year. Not even close, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
Anyone who's played fantasy can tell you that otherwise too.
Yep, I'm with you 100%, dude. Well, enjoy the game. Got any plans?
Pizza, wings, chips, dip, the classic commercials, halftime shows, long national anthems, the whole shebang.
Okay, so really quick, because I'm going to be working some of this in throughout the show. I said at the top that I'm going to help people out that are going to Super Bowl parties, or you're hosting a Super Bowl party. You just said dip. And here's my issue with dip. If you're one of those people that says it's not double dipping if you use the other side of the chip, it's BS. You can't do it. Your gritty fingers, your greasy fingers that just grabbed a piece of bread with spinach dip are all over the side of the chip that you were holding that you didn't bite.
Oh no, I'm probably not going to a party. This is just for myself.
Well, you're good, but do you agree with me if you're at a party?
Oh yeah, no. That's totally
it.
cheat. Yeah, that's totally cheat. That's not how that works.
Yeah, you can't do it. So
that's not how germs work. That's just not how germs work. Anyone can tell you that. I mean, a 5-year-old could tell you that that's not how germs work.
Brother, you'd be surprised. All right, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, man.
Good job.
Go. Beat Mahomes. No 3-peat.
Good job. I can't believe Corn Dog. By the way, what's up, Jay?
Yeet!
I can't believe Corn Dog said that the Eagles have the best offensive player on the field. That made me think for a second. I don't know that I am ready to say that Saquon's the best offensive player on the field. It's an interesting proposition. Now, I don't agree with him about this season, yes, but it's still Patrick freaking Mahomes. And if you're here for Kings, we're going to be mixing it all in today. So you're going to get a full dose of Kings, Super Bowl, whatever y'all want to talk about, we will get to. That's what a Royal Rumble Friday is. It's a little bit about everything. Corn Dog bringing up some WWE there. Look, Manuel, my man, you are not wrong. In fact, you are more right than you are wrong with this comment. Them kids curse more at school. And I think you meant if we knew. You are spot on, man. I've learned things from my kid that I didn't know. And he's 10 years old. And we like to think we're responsible with what he takes in. Now, we give him a little bit of leeway in a couple of areas. The Simpsons, he gets a little leeway. Me growing up, I was never allowed to watch The Simpsons. I wasn't allowed to watch Married with Children. I wasn't allowed to watch like a handful of shows. My wife was allowed to watch Family Guy, anime, Simpsons. So I wasn't going to fight City Hall there. But we're at a point with my 10-year-old. I was literally having this conversation last night with my wife after my son went to bed. I said, we are going to institute a swear jar around this house. Now, I'm not going to be the dad that takes the money and keeps it. But it's not just a swear jar. It's a swear / threats / talking back jar, or not doing the things you're supposed, whatever you want to call it. It's a smorgasbord card or jar. But we're going to find that kid 25 cents and we're going to put that jar right in front of him. Wherever he spends the most time, that jar is going to be right there. Because there's one thing about this kid. This kid knows how to shake people down, especially in this family. People come over. This kid's not shy about asking for money. So I know he's got a ton of ones, a ton of coins up in his bedroom. We are going to put a quarter in that jar anytime those things happen. And he's got to work to get it back. He's got to do an extra chore to get the money out of the jar. So you are spot on. And he's 10 years old. And we have tried to do a good job with it, man. A really good job. We've got all the parental controls on the iPad. We've got the parental controls on his cell phone. We can see what he's doing. We watch his YouTube history. And still, it slips through the cracks. The current one going, and I will not finish the back end of it, is D's. We are stuck on D's. It's D's everything. Starting with the first one that comes to mind the most. It's insane. See, I think it's fair too. I think it's fair. I think that jar is fair. Dude, Mars, he does get a little bit of South Park. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, here's where we get a little off track. We allow him to watch some gaming stuff on YouTube, right? And there's these creators, especially with Roblox, which my son likes to play, in Minecraft, that will narrate to the gameplay. And let's just say that it's not always age appropriate, the narrations. So I could be sitting there making the kid breakfast. It's 7:15 in the morning, and I hear an F-bomb. And I snap my neck back. I don't have to say a word. My son's like, sorry, daddy. And I can't get mad at him because I know he's not picking it, knowing that's in there, or at least I don't think he is. But yes, look, he does get some South Park. He does. South Park. Everybody's putting it in. Bad dad. You're calling me a bad dad? I'm not a bad dad. I'd like to think I'm a cool dad. Kings about to be 12th in the West. Hey, it's a possibility. It is a possibility. In fact, let's look at the schedule coming up. This is the easiest stretch for the Kings the easiest stretch of the Kings the rest of the season. This is the easiest stretch. So you got a loss to Portland. You did what we said could not happen. Grant and I both predicted that the Kings would not drop below 500 again this year, and they did. Circumstances, okay. Now, I'm not going to put the Kings, I'm not going to hold their feet over the fire for this reason. Every other team that made moves is dealing with the same thing. And I get that you have a star that used to be in here in Sacramento, and he happened to play his first game on national TV, and he had a good showing, and they won. That doesn't make it feel any better, but it doesn't change the rule. Most times it takes guys a couple of games. In fact, have the Mavs played with Anthony Davis yet? No. Have the Lakers played with Luka yet? No. The Kings have been lucky enough to have Levine and Valanciunas. Levine in both games, Valanciunas in one of them. So they are lucky in this sense that this is the easiest stretch remaining leading up to the All-Star break. Now, that doesn't mean that it's an easy stretch. Notice the difference. It is the easiest stretch the rest of the way. Brutal road trip leading into the All-Star break to a degree. You're at Dallas, which Anthony Davis is supposed to make his debut this weekend. So unless he re-aggravates the ab, whether he does something else and he's in street clothes, my guess is Dallas is going to have him. And Dallas looked good. Dallas looked real good. Then you've got New Orleans and New Orleans. You see them 3 times in 6 days? And by the way, Dallas, New Orleans, and New Orleans, 3 games in 4 nights. So Doug Christie is going to have to figure it out because what's happened the last 2 nights is unacceptable. And when I say it's unacceptable, the rules change when a team makes moves. You got to remember this team, this Sacramento Kings team, this Beam team, these 2.5 years, whatever you want to call them, a window, a chance, being back, quote unquote, if you define it that way, they've been together for 2.5 years, y'all. You can roll the ball out there and say, play. They know each other. They get what they're going to do. They know each other's spots. It's not super common for teams like the Kings that have not had a large amount of success over the last 2 and 3 years to basically have the same roster ran back. If you're having a ton of success, sure. Now that's changing with this new CBA. But the Kings haven't. They had a good year in 22-23. So it's much easier to let those guys play together, let them learn how to play together instead of teaching them a play. Those rules are off the table now. You have got to play to your stars' strengths. Zach LaVine is not a roll the ball out and let him cook dude. You got to get him coming off screens. You got to get him in motion. What I'm saying is Zach LaVine should not be bringing the ball up. Period. End of story. It's not his thing. He doesn't like it. You know who else shouldn't be bringing the ball up? DeMar DeRozan. DeMar is probably the most understandable out of the three names. I'm going to say the third right now. Domantas Sabonis should not be doing it either, because you are taking away what DeMar does best and how he best helps the team. You are taking away how Sabonis best helps this team by asking them to run point, to facilitate, to play make. That hurts this team more than it helps it. So I'm going to continue that thought in a second. I'm going to show you. Again? Should I go to PK again? PK, second time.
You just killed my thought.
Well, my apologies.
No, Ryan, think about this. I'm excited. Like, there's nothing to be down about Kings. I don't like to hear like pouty Kings or anything like that. But here's the situation. Pelicans are going to be shopping, right? So Pelicans are going to be trying to lose. They got rid of Ingram. They're going to be trying to shoot for the lottery, just like a lot of teams. So we're going to take those three. Guaranteed. Like, there's no way we do not take those three. Now, the rest is a crapshoot. To predict what Kings do the rest of the season is kind of I don't know. It doesn't make sense, because we don't know what's going to happen with those other teams. Other teams, there's going to be injuries. They're going to have changes. They're going to have issues. But I think for the Kings fans and for us, for stuff that matters, let's settle down and let's rock with the Kings. Whatever happens, happens. Let's rock with the Kings. We haven't been able to even set up an offense. I think Christie's post game was so honest, and he said he hasn't had time to set up offense for Valanciunas. Obviously, he hasn't had a chance to set up offense for LaVine or anyone. So you can't really even judge this. Just like Grant said, he goes, you can't even take there's no sample size. 2 games is nothing.
I said that. Okay. I was getting killed last night for that, but go ahead.
Okay. Then you take the credit, Ryan. Ryan said that. Ryan said that there's a small sample size and there's nothing to panic. Nothing is crashing down on us. If we got rid of players and everyone that bought tickets, season tickets, and everyone who sells out that arena and all those fans that cheered for Levine when he showed up. Now, if they sold off the team, that would be a problem. But right now, it's like there's no stats to really show what this team is. You know, you can run any kind of metric you want, but you know what? I guarantee you, I will donate $500 to anyone, a gift card to Bennett's, to Wolfie, if we do not sweep Pels. And,
hold on. Do not hang up.
What?
Are you being serious, bro?
I'm serious. I'll give you $500 Bennett's card, gift card. If we do not sweep Pels, even though we have 2 away games, if we do not sweep Pels, I will donate $500 to Wolfie on the chat.
Holy crap.
As long as Wolfie lives in Sacramento. If Wolfie does not live in Sacramento, then you know, pick and choose. Definitely not the Blazers fan.
Great call, my man.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Now I want to see, because I'm going to keep talking about the Kings. I want to see if you can keep that take and that opinion the rest of the show.
I listen. I don't think I don't think everything's crashing down on us. I just think that when you replace that many players, and then, you know, we had so many, it's just bad timing, I think, for us right now. So I don't think we don't even know what the defense looks like or offense looks like, because it's hard to plug in 3 players. And then that boy from Grizzlies, that boy can play too. So plug and play and rotations is like is going to be on top of Christie's head, and that's going to be a tough.
Okay, so do you agree? So do you agree with me with what I just said about you can't roll the ball out anymore? What Christie did during the Kings winning streak, that is what the Kings did. He let them freelance for the most part. There was a couple of things, but they were not calling plays. They were not doing anything structured. Do you think the Kings can still do that going forward with 31 games left in the season and 3 new parts, if not a 4th on its way to incorporate? PK? PK! What happened to PK? He dropped. Damn. He's there. He must be in a bad reception area. Wow. PK? What's going on, Wolf? Damn, man. Wolf, are you in Sacramento? Holy crap. Guru, you already got your donation, dude. I took you to Bennett's. You got your donation from this channel this last off season. Holy crap, PK. If the Kings don't sweep the Pelicans, PK's dropping a $500 gift card to Bennett's, to Furious Wolf. Do you have any idea how many New York prime cuts of steak that is at Bennett's? My boy BG in the chat went there last night. He had the New York prime. BG, tell me you did not get that thing well done. Please tell me you did not do that. So cool. They bring it out to you. You get to choose which one you want. But Bennett's prime cuts of seafood and steak. If you're not a steak person, give the redfish a try. One of our favorites, Grant and myself. Jerry, not so much a fish guy. He's more of a Caesar salad with chicken guy. Jerry goes a little more generic. You know, he likes his biscuits or his chicken and dumplings. But go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. You can check out all 3 of their locations here in the greater Sacramento area, Rockland, Roseville, How and Fair Oaks. By the way, it's the weekend, meaning brunch 11 to 2, all 3 locations this weekend. Bubbles and brunch under $50, 2 entrees and a bottle of champagne. Great deal. Seriously, can you get out of the McDonald's drive-thru for a family under $30? I don't think so. Make the wife happy. Let her have a couple mimosas. You know she probably won't finish her entire entree. So you can get a little something sweet. You can get something savory. Watch the pregame to the Super Bowl, whatever it may be. All 3 locations. Also, brunch not your thing. Don't worry. Prime rib, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 3 p.m. and on. And during the week, happy hour. In fact, happy hour every day, 2 to 6. What I'm telling you is Bennett's has a little bit for everyone, and it might have everything for Furious. Like literally, Furious might try the whole menu if the Kings don't sweep the Pelicans on behalf of PK. How about that? So huge thanks to Bennett's for sponsoring, in part, today's episode of the King's Court. Bennett's prime cuts of seafood and steak. By the way, when you go in, let them know that you heard about Bennett's on the channel. So many of you have been frequenting Bennett's, so thank you very much. Brian lets us know, and we always do it the opposite. We let Brian know as well. Let us know about your experiences. Well done steak equals cheeseburgers. With you, dude. With you, big cojones. Look, if you're going to eat a well done steak, that's your choice. Just look, here's my recommendation. Unless it's like a significant other, an immediate family member, if somebody's taking you out to eat and you're going to order a steak, which might be on the pricier side of the menu, don't order it well done. Pass for something else. Get the cheeseburger. It makes for an awkward dinner or an awkward lunch, especially if that person knows or eats a steak medium rare. It's weird. It's so weird. Yeah. Who are we talking about? Who is good people? Ben Simmons. He's been through a lot. That him. What's up, Chiefs or Eagles? Who to bet on? Interesting that you ask. Very interesting that you ask. That's one of the things I wanted to get to. Some sports books have this one this weekend as a pick'em. Vegas doesn't even know what to do. In fact, as of this morning, ESPN Bets had it as a pick'em. I believe it was minus 110 for both teams. So we'll see. They said most of the money, according to the Pat McAfee show, 65% of the tickets were on the Chiefs, but more money had been bet on the Eagles. A lot of late money coming in on the Eagles. But betting the Super Bowl, if that's your thing, and by the way, do not bet what you can't afford to lose. Don't be that person. And if you are, don't chase it with another bet. It's kind of sad, like if you do have that problem, and I'm not judging you if you have that problem. But the way that everywhere you look, when you're watching a game, it's about gambling. The broadcasts are giving you live odds. Now you can get live odds, updated odds as the game goes along. It's insane. But if you're going to bet the Super Bowl, at least have fun with it. This is actually my favorite part of the Super Bowl. And I understand that this graphic is for a past Super Bowl, but I always get a damn good laugh at the exotic prop bets that come out every Super Bowl. In fact, this Super Bowl, I learned some new ones. Check this out. Do any of you know what an octopus prop bet is? An octopus prop bet. I'll give it a second. Do you know what an octopus prop bet is? Okay. I didn't know either. Check this out. It's the rare feat that got its name because of the octopus. 8. A football octopus occurs when a player scores a touchdown and ensuing 2-point conversion, which is 8 points. So the player has to get the touchdown, the 6, and they have to score the 2-point conversion. How about that? And it has been done. In fact, it was done in Super Bowl 57 against the Chiefs. Who do you think did it? Any guesses? It's kind of pretty easy. Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts. So, if you want to bet at Caesars, the octopus is going off, and it can be any player. In fact, some books are allowing you just to bet the octopus, meaning that if any player in the game does it, you win. Caesars, it's going off at plus 1,400. Bet 365 plus 1,400. Bet MGM. What a nightmare that site is. Plus 1,400. FanDuel plus 1040. The octopus. That was a new one. You guys are all putting your stuff in there. Yeah. So we will keep going over these. Here, I'll give you another one. Does anybody know what scoregami is? These are legit bets. Scoregami. It's simple. It's simple, but it's unusual. Since the NFL began in 1920, there have been 1,086 unique final scores. That includes 38 scoregamis in the postseason. As more hit, it becomes harder to achieve a scoregami. There were 6 scoregamis during the 2023-2024 regular season and only 1 in the playoffs when the Texans beat the Chargers 32-12. This is the original or the official website of the scoregami. It has all the information needed, blah, 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 blah. So you didn't tell me what the scoregami is. Oh, the scoregami. It's a final score that has never occurred in the NFL. It's a final score that has never occurred in the NFL. That's a scoregami. How about that? Scoregamis. Bet 365 going off at plus 2,000. I'm not even going to mention the other clown of a website. Have you take a second, and I hope none of you bet with this website. Take a second and go look at the state of Michigan and its Supreme Court and what's going on with BetMGM. That's the last time I'm going to say their name. I'm not going to give their odds anymore. What a joke of a book. Anyways, FanDuel plus 2,500, DraftKings plus 2,500. Now, we got the regular ones that we know. The Gatorade colors. Purple going off at plus 175, orange at plus 250, yellow and green at plus 250, red plus 425, blue plus 450, clear. Now, does clear count as water? That's the question that I want to know. And then no Gatorade bath plus 1,500. Interesting there. One of my favorites, an oldie but goodie, the coin toss, heads, tails, minus 102 for each of them. A plus. Oh, wait, what is it? No. There we go. No, the coin toss. We got that. Oh, you can bet the coin toss winner as well. minus 102. I guess it's the same thing. First scoring play, touchdown, minus 165, the favorite. Field goal, plus 140. Other score, plus 5,000. Give me other score. I don't bet. I don't get down with action, but give me other score at plus 500. Think about that. Plus 500 or 5,000.
Egregious, preposterous.
We already went over Gatorade color. Will Patrick Mahomes throw an interception? That's pretty basic. Jalen Hurts throw an interception. How about a successful 2-point conversion? Plus 180. Here's a good one. First TD jersey number. Over 15.5 is minus 115. Under 15.5 is minus 115. That's the Mahomes bet. How about a defensive touchdown or a safety? Yes, plus 330. No, minus 450. Barkley for 169 plus yards, plus 425. Will the final score be a scoregami? We already talked about the scoregami. It's going off at plus 2,500. First TD score, Barkley plus 400, Hurts plus 650, Kareem Hunt plus 800, Kelsey plus 1,000, Xavier Worthy plus 1,200. How about that, man? And I bet if you search, there's so many more of these, but I think it is so fun to look at some of these. But for the first Super Bowl in a very long time, I learned 2 new bets. The scoregami, which is an NFL score that's never happened before, and the octopus. I kind of like the octopus. That is a bold bet. So what do you think? Are you taking action on the game? Who you got? So we still got a ton of show left to get to today. If you would like to call, please call. We're going to go to the whiteboard. We're going to talk a lot more about the Kings. What I do want to play first, though, because if you consume other media here in Sacramento, now I have friends that are part of the media here in Sacramento. There's people that I greatly respect that are creators here in Sacramento or host radio shows here in Sacramento. There has been a lot coming out as of late on De'Aaron Fox. And I mean a lot. This week has been De'Aaron Fox week. Everybody is now looking at, and by the way, the Kings put that out already. Go figure. Everybody has San Antonio coming to the G1C in a couple months or about a month and a half, circled on the calendar. Maybe it's less than a month. Is it February 3rd he's coming back? Help me out in the chat. Will the Kings do a tribute? Will the Kings not do a tribute? What's up, Patrick? Welcome in, buddy. Glad you're here.
Acknowledge me.
Patrick, man. It's
outrageous, egregious, preposterous.
That you got to work till 6:20 on a Friday, man. Come on. 6:20 on a Friday, Patrick. Hardworking man. I know what he does for a living. Appreciate that. Patrick's ready to party. Patrick just sat down on the couch. He's looking over his shoulder. He's like, honey,
Ma, the meatloaf!
Bring me my dinner. King's Court. Let's go. Love it. But anyways, back to Fox. Fox has corresponded with numerous people in the media. I'm not going to name names. It's not hard to find. 2 very well-known personalities, one that I have very little respect for and one that I could not respect more, have both gone public with their conversations with De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron engaged in some back and forth on Twitter. We covered him last night on the show, and we got into a little bit more of the Fox conversation. And Grant shared some thoughts yesterday on our 4 o'clock Kings Roundtable, and Grant decided to make his rant about De'Aaron Fox and his take on the situation. His rant was so good. And by the way, the last time I checked, it had 19,000 views on X. So it's making its way around. But it is one of the best rants that I can remember. It is one of the most candid rants that I can remember. And whether you agree with it or not, I think you're going to be able to appreciate how well he is able to articulate both his feelings and summarize a lot of feelings that so many other Kings fans are feeling right now. Here's what we're going to do. I sure as hell hope the show does not come off the rails when I do this. I sure as hell hope, because in the past, I've had problems with the show afterwards. If we have problems with the show, I will go back live after the video. I think we should be good, but I want you to watch the video. It is worth 7 minutes of your time. If you haven't seen his rant from last night, we're going to watch it right now. If you have seen it, watch it again, listen again. I am sure you will pick up something new that you didn't. Both Grant and I were very candid, and we held back a lot about what we knew in terms of what was going on in the building. We were very careful about what we talked about here. We were ethical with it. And this was a little bit more of a chance for us to let you in a little bit more. But really, all of it's on Grant. Here was Grant's rant from
Hills
yesterday.
At the town center. It's very easy. All right, edhmotors.com. That's edhmotors.com. Well, I've talked about this a lot. I think you all know my affection for De'Aaron Fox when I was still calling the games for the Kings. I loved talking to De'Aaron. I loved announcing his games. I loved watching him play courtside. I loved to watch his interaction with the fans. I was a huge De'Aaron Fox fan. One night before the telecast, I was standing on the floor with Doug, and he was warming up, and we started talking. And I said to him, I go, you know what? You're going to have your jersey up on the rafters if you want. You can have everything that you want. And I said, and you can own this town. And he said, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I go, I'm serious, man. I've been here a long time. I've been here since the 80s. I've seen a lot. I'm just telling you, you have a chance to have this city in the palm of your hands. And I really thought that's where we were going, especially after the 48-win season 2 years ago and how dominant Fox was against the Warriors until he broke his finger. And that's the only thing that could slow him down. But if he's not good, he was great. And I thought, wow, we are watching the actual blossom of a beautiful flower that's going to be around for a long, long time. And now here we are in 2025. And I made a comment earlier today. And for those of you that were not with us, bear with me. Understand that I have a different sports background than many of you because the East Coast mentality of sports and the West Coast are different. Doesn't mean one's better than the other. They're just different. And I think most sports fans acknowledge that. The sports fans in Philadelphia and New York are different than the sports fans in San Francisco and LA. Doesn't mean that the sports fans in San Francisco and LA don't love their team, but it's different. Me personally, Grant Napier, as hard as this is for me to say, I would boo De'Aaron Fox when he comes back in a couple of weeks as a member of the Spurs. I think what he did to this franchise and his lack of professionalism lately, really going back to a couple of instances, sulking and moping when Tyrese Halliburton was on the team. After the Kings traded Tyrese, he was a completely different person, body language completely different. Last year, blown off the media for 3 weeks. His disconnect in the Detroit game, he's the reason why the Kings lost to the Pistons. Nobody else. He's the reason. Falling asleep in a three-point shooting situation, just completely out of position and then fouling the shooter. which was Mike Brown's last game as head coach. De'Aaron's press conferences this week in San Antonio have made me nauseous. And De'Aaron's tweet earlier today, talking about the dysfunction that everyone's talking about with this franchise as if it's his fault. I'm not saying that the dysfunction of the Sacramento Kings is Fox's fault. What I am saying is he contributed to it greatly. The minute he signed with Clutch Sports, he was different. You never heard De'Aaron say lately, I want to be in Sacramento. This is where I want to end my career. All you heard was, I didn't request a trade. It wasn't, I didn't request a trade. I really want to be here. I love it here. My family loves it here. This is where I want to retire. All it was, I didn't request a trade. De'Aaron's body language. Have you seen how vibrant he is when he talks to the media in San Antonio? That's not the De'Aaron Fox that I saw this year. That's not the De'Aaron Fox that I saw last year. De'Aaron checked out on the Sacramento Kings. Checked out. Okay? Yes, he had some moments. 60 points, 49 points. He's a dynamic player. He's a very good player. And there are times when the competitor in you will take over, regardless of whether you want to be there or not. You're in the moment and you want to kick the other team's ass. I get that. But there were too many times that we would come on this post-game show and we would talk about what's going on with De'Aaron. What's wrong with his body language? We would criticize his media sessions. We would talk about what's the deal with him? Does he want to be here? Does he not want to be here? I'm really, how do I want to say this? I've lost a lot of respect for Fox lately. And so, you know what? Here's my message to the Sacramento Kings. Monte McNair's press conference yesterday laid it all out perfectly. He didn't want to be here. He wasn't going to sign a new deal. A new deal was not imminent. It was not going to happen. This franchise right now needs to grow a pair. I don't want to see a special video tribute when Fox comes in. I don't want a special introduction. You as a fan, you want to give him a standing O when he's introduced? Give him a standing O. If I were at the game, I would boo him. I don't want any bells and whistles from the Kings. Oh, De'Aaron's back in town. Let's kiss his ass. He screwed you over in a way. That's what he did. The Kings opened up their checkbook, opened up the bank vault for him. He took the money, and then there were too many times he was less than adequate and less than professional. I don't forget that. This is big-time sports. You spend a lot of money when you go to the games. You invest a lot of your time when you watch the games and follow the games and come on shows like this. You're invested. You're passionate. You love your team. You know what? This may be too strong. Fox left you standing at the altar. That's what he did. And his demeanor this week in San Antonio has once again disgusted me. And for him to go on social media and talk about the dysfunction of the franchise and like, it's not my fault. Look in the freaking mirror, buddy. Look in the mirror. And that's my rant for tonight.
Incredibly well said. Great perspective. I'll never forget you and I this season. We have independent people that we talk to that are plugged in, and we exchange text messages before the Lakers 2 games. And we both knew the same thing. There was trouble brewing.
Yep.
Something was going on. And not that it was all Fox, but a big part of it was around Fox. And from that point on, he lost me. And I think he lost a lot of this fan base when after those 2 games, he said, well, it's out of our hands now. And I'm paraphrasing. We're going to need help from a lot of people. And I know that did not sit well with the fan base. And then from there, the Draymond podcast, you really couldn't have orchestrated your passive aggressive campaign any better than Clutch Sports and De'Aaron Fox did, Grant. Just an absolutely epic and incredible and contrite rant from Grant. Again, one of the best that I have heard, whether you agree with it or not. When I tell you that Grant Napier could do a show with a broomstick and make it look great, I'm not lying. So, incredible stuff. And here's what I will say. When the season is over, I share this sentiment with Dave, somebody who I greatly respect in this city. Somebody in some ways that kind of put a path forward for guys like me. Not putting myself anywhere near Dave's level, not even close to Dave's level. I'm saying he opened the door for me to have an opportunity to earn some of your credibility. Coming as a fan, no different than you, your friends, your brothers, your sisters, and have the opportunity to grow up watching Grant and Jerry, to have the opportunity to earn a platform, earn your trust, earn your respect. And hopefully, if I haven't, that's still happening. And I plan on making that happen. But I couldn't agree with Dave anymore because I saw a clip of his show today where he said it's not the right time. And he is exactly right. It's not the right time to share certain things. And me saying that sharing certain things, that does not mean that I have ground shaking information on what's gone on with the Kings and some of the problems that have happened. Not just this season, but last season as well. When the time is right, and the time is not right now, I can assure you we will have that conversation. I will share what I know about the situation. That time will be sooner rather than later. Grant taught me a really, really great lesson about if you have the opportunity to be in places or to be around people that the normal public does not usually have, you see things, you hear things there, you don't talk about them. You don't. Now, if it's on the record, you get my drift. And I have adhered to that. I might not have my credential with the Sacramento Kings, but I adhere to many of those same ethical standards, most of which I have learned from Grant. So I assure you, we will have that conversation when that time comes. But Grant, and this isn't about me, this is about Grant. That was an amazing moment last night. I feel like that is a moment that a lot of this fan base needed. I really do. So thank you for humoring me. Thank you for taking the time to let me play that again and sticking around. Yes, we are on, so Dodge, we are on Spotify, we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Amazon Podcasts, we are anywhere that you find podcasts. Search in the King's Court with Rhino. If you don't like that with Grant Napier, you will find everything there audio-wise, and you get additional shows besides the ones that you see on here on those platforms as well, and additional podcasts too. And if you're not subscribed, as Horst said earlier today, we just hit 8,000, which is a huge thing. So thank you very much for all that. We continue our Royal Rumble Friday. We're going to go to the whiteboard. We're going to talk a lot more Kings. We can talk Super Bowl. Take your calls as well. But I am so excited to talk to this guy. He was a first-time caller the other night, and Grant literally said it was the best call of 2025 so far. All the way from the Isle of
Acknowledge me,
Samoa, our guy, Toa. What's up,
Hey,
man?
hey man, how's it going, man? It's a
How
lot been
are you?
going on. I'm
A
doing
lot.
good, man. Yeah, so yeah, I appreciated the compliments from last call, and I just been excited just to get all of these King stats out of my head, stuck on this island right now.
It's a
I,
good island to be stuck on.
right, yeah, and just like you said, I've got to my struggle is trying to figure out what I'm going to eat for dinner. Um, and so I didn't watch that Grant rant until now when you showed it. And so I wasn't gonna comment on it until you showed that video. And just kind of some thoughts that I have about just the whole Fox situation is that it's just the way I'll phrase it in a relationship aspect is it's a sad breakup, you know. And some of the things that I've seen on social media and just a lot of our Sacktown fan base, just kind of like venting about just the whole situation. And watching that Monty press conference when he commented about, just the situation, he basically made it clear that Fox was not going to resign with us from what it sounded like. And to me, it's like, yeah, he could have came out a little bit more direct and just saying, that he's kind of ran his course here in Sacramento, but like how do you do that if Fox's shoes? And I'm not defending him at all.
Yeah,
I'm just saying as far as like a breakup, right? It's like, and this is a kind of a flaky analogy, but it's like, it's like dating a girl and her family is awesome, right? You get to meet the mother, the grandma. You're just like, man, but there are just some differences that you and the girl have, and you're just like, oh, this is not going to work out. But yet you're thinking, man, I done met the family. They're great. They embrace me. And so it's like I'd rather date the family than the actual girl. And the reason why I bring that analogy up is because I really believe that Fox embraced the Sacktown Proud fan base, but like it's just one of those things where we're hoping to find out later on the ins and outs in those front office conversations, because I'm pretty sure that there were a lot of things going on that we just have no clue about, right?
there were.
That really led to how it happened. Because my personal opinion about Clutch, I think it's a Clutch Sports,
Yeah.
is that that's a very and I don't know Rich Paul personally, but just from podcasts and listening to interviews, but the guy sounds like a very egotistic type of personality, where it's like it's more about you're gonna get what you deserve. That's it, and so hearing what Grant said about the way it kind of seemed like Fox, kind of his demeanor changed. I definitely seen that on the San Antonio interviews, and I'm just like, dude, this is like Darren Fox that's almost been like a burden has been released from his shoulders. He's
No doubt.
smiling, he's talking about the future and this and that. And so that's why I say it to me as a Sacramento Kings fan that we have endured. It sucks, but it's like time will heal. And so that's kind of my thoughts on the whole Fox situation. It's just like it really sucks, but hey, Sacktown fans, man, we almost lost the team at one point, So these are the things that keep me like just keep moving on. Can I give a couple of pointers on like the last games that we've had in regards to just some thoughts? I'm like, dude, we got to get this together.
Brother, it's your show. Take it over.
well, so some of the points that I have on here is that for us Sacramento Kings fan, it's really tough to go through these two games that we've lost, but we have to give grace to Doug Christie and the new identity of the Kings. And so one of my questions that I would love to pose is like, what is our identity now? We've come from now the Mike Brown, just let it fly offense, right? You get down there, you got an open three, let it fly. Well, we've been really struggling with our 3 points this year, just throughout the games. Yes, we'll have those games where we're like, man, that's the beam team, but it hasn't been as consistent, which is why I think that it's going to be interesting to see what is our new identity. We've got three top dogs now in regards to people who can score with DeMar DeRozan and Levine, who needs to get comfortable a little bit more situated, and then Sabonis. So I'm very interested in seeing how does Doug Christie kind of play around with these pieces, and just to see what our new identity is, because I think that just the way we've been struggling with the 3-point shot, I wouldn't mind slowing it down, and when we get on that half court, let DeMar cook, because I'll be honest, I already watched some highlights of DeMar, because this is the first time I really watched him, and man, that mid range, that automatic shot that he has is like I feel like we need to take full advantage of that, and then seeing what Levine can add. And then my last thoughts, just kind of been juggling, is like, what is Doug Christie going to do with the rotation? Because I've really felt that last game, Malik, he's been put in a position that he didn't expect to be in as like the point guard. But I feel like, Doug Christie should at least give the young rookie a little bit more playing time in playing that point guard position, because Doug Christie has all the excuse right now to just mix around. Nobody's going to really get on him because he's trying to figure it out. But I just think that the point guard position is what we really need to nail down, because Fox, the head of the snake, is no longer there. And then we definitely need to improve our 3-point shooting, our 3-point defense, because man, I'm feel like I'm watching the Niners game this past season, where you're just like, oh, watch out for the deep ball. They're gonna get us. So I'm sorry with that mouthful, but there's just some things that's been lingering. I'm just like, come on, Sacktown, we got to get it together. And yeah, man, I appreciate you just hearing me out.
Preach, man. You are a knowledgeable basketball mind. Holy crap. You are getting a lot of love here on the channel. And people are saying, can you confirm, are you a part of the bloodline or not?
We actually like to say within our Samoan culture, in one way or another, we are all related at some point. So I would throw one up for the bloodline.
Acknowledge me.
I love it.
Exactly.
Toa, do not be a stranger, my man. Do not be a stranger. Are you on social media?
I am. I have a Twitter, so I'll add you guys on Twitter. I'm just kind of getting reconnected to the social feed.
Make sure you give me a follow. I'll definitely follow you back. Good stuff, man. So much knowledge there. A lot of insight. Great job, Toa. Holy crap. That was a great call. Lot to chew on there. I've got some thoughts in reaction to it. Want to get to all of you in the chat first, because I think he brings up a lot of the things that Toa brought up were some of the things that I was going to hit on, and I still am going to hit on during this show about what we've seen over the last couple games. Doug's what he's playing with at this point. Toa really hit on it. He's playing with house money. He's got the owner in his back pocket. So there's not an expectation. Now, I get this fan base has a expectation of success, but across the NBA, there's not an expectation of success. In fact, I would argue there's a lot of coaches that are probably rooting for Doug to fail. So there is a lot there to talk about. Holy crap. Furious, power up the beam tomorrow. Indeed, great call. Warrior is him. Yeah, that's right. He's got a clothing line. He said that on his first call. It's like Warrior clothing or something along those lines. I got to bail. No problem, DSC. We're gonna get to some of your chats too. Basketball practice. There you go. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you very much. A lot of emojis, a lot of love for him. Jay, here we go. My season tickets are near Fox's wife. My wife and I said it was over when Rich Paul, when he was, I know the night you're talking about. When he was sitting courtside with her. Yep, absolutely. Good insight there from Jay. Go Niners. Look, there's a lot of, it's funny that Toa brought up the Niners season because there's a ton of parallels between this Niners season and this Sacramento season. Now, the Kings weren't as loaded as the Niners. The expectations were not as high, but there are a lot of parallels you can draw there. The one thing that I do want to immediately answer that Toa brought up is identity. And it's a question I have been asking since the year of the Beam team. That team's identity was offense. It was three-point shooting. That team was not supposed to be an offensive team. If you go back and listen to Mike Brown's press conference, it was defense, defense, defense. And now looking back, remember Keegan Murray's rookie year, clearly Keegan was Mike's project. With the way that Keegan has developed defensively, to me, if I zoom out and I look at that, I think what you're seeing in terms of Keegan Murray's growth, and I know everybody in their head or right now on their keyboards is saying what growth offensively, but his defensive end, his body growth, the little things that a lot of fans don't look at, his explosion getting off the court, his aggressiveness. There's a huge Mike Brown imprint on that. And I think in some very small way, that was part of the identity that Mike wanted this team to have. But fast forward to last season, this team didn't have an identity. Everybody thought it was three-point shooting. It was offense. It wasn't. Their net rating fluctuated all season. By the way, they either won by 18 points or they lost by 19 for the first half of the season. Their net rating the first half of the season fluctuated between 0.3 and 0.6. Then you have a rash of injuries. You were forced to play a completely different style of basketball from what the Beam team played. It was a grinded out, physical battle, first team to 100 brand of basketball. In their net rating by the end of the season, although their record was not much better, their net rating had nearly tripled. And it felt like the Kings were maybe on to something. Is this maybe who the Kings are? And while all this is happening, the Kings are not a good home team. So bizarre. Sacramento usually is the best home court advantage in the league. Or at least it has been up there over the last 20, 30 years. Gone. And I know you moved into a new building. So I asked the question, what's this team's identity? I've asked it so many times this year. I asked it all of last year. And I said, what is this team's identity besides three-point shooting? Don't tell me that, because every team in the NBA is a three-point shooting team. Most every team is a three-point shooting team. What's their identity? And don't give me a negative one and say inconsistent. Really, what is the identity of the Kings? Who do the Kings want to be? So Mike Brown gets an extension. I thought it was a good idea. Grant did not. You get DeMar DeRozan. And we think, here it comes. We're going to find out. This is the run. The Kings are a win now team. Also, De'Aaron Fox, his future in Sacramento is on the clock. People thought I was crazy when I kept going over that this summer. I'm like, y'all, this is coming up sooner rather than later. And then you have the preseason that this team had. And then you have Mike Brown come out and say, well, put it on me. Put it on me because I only let the guys play out of certain sets. Now, that might not be important to you. There goes the camera. That might not be important to you, but you know why that's important to me? It's because right before the play-in, the previous season, Coach Brown was asked about the offense and calling sets and calling plays. And he said that he was rarely calling plays that season. And he said it was a drastic difference from the Beam Team year. It flew over a lot of people's heads. It didn't fly over mine. And I know it didn't fly over some of yours. We're like, that's interesting. Because there was a significant drop in the stats. Free throws were down 21+%, not percentage in terms of makes, attempts. Free throws, made free throws, down 21+%. What do the Kings do in the play-in? The Kings come out in the play-in, and it's structured. They're targeting mismatches. They played arguably their best game of the season. So it was even more confusing then. And then days before the start of the season, we learned that Kevin Huerter is going to be available. Jerry Reynolds and I were floored that Keon Ellis, even though Keon had a very bad preseason, admittedly, he had a bad preseason. Regardless of that, we were floored that Kevin was going into the starting lineup. And we were also surprised at how candid Mike Brown was being about his rotation, right? And he's like, well, I'm just not comfortable with it. Almost like setting you up for failure. Like easing the blows, getting you ready for impact. Like you saw it coming. And as the season went on, you kept hearing, well, the rotation, you saw what was happening on the court. The numbers were telling a much different story than the record. And it's like, what is happening right now? And then Adam, who put it somewhere in the chat, we start hearing from Coach Brown. Somehow, some way. After almost every single game towards the end of his tenure. Somehow, some way. You know what that sends to me if I'm a player? As a player, that sends to me, we're not good enough. It's going to take a miracle to turn this thing around, or a move, an act from above. That's what it sends to me. So not surprising that when the Kings hit a rougher spot in the season, De'Aaron Fox says, well, we're going to need help now after the 2 Lakers games. Mike Brown gets fired. Doug Christie comes in. All of the sudden, the Kings are getting to loose balls more than they were. They're turning defense into offense. They're giving Sacramento the basketball that it has craved since 2002. what happens? They're winning games. They're playing ping pong with the G1C crowd. Any of you that were at those games, they were loud. The Kings had a home court advantage again. And then all this starts to happen, or I shouldn't say starts to happen. That is factually incorrect. The Fox situation starts picking up steam. But the Kings are winning. And now we're here where Fox is gone. You've got a new crew in here. And Toa is asking the only question, the most basic question that any NBA team should be able to tell you. Hell, your identity is your mission statement in the NBA. And none of us, or the Kings probably, or Doug Christie can tell you what that identity is. And now we are 31 games away from the end of the season. We are a game under 500. And it is in Doug Christie's hands. I don't know what the answer is. Do I have my thoughts? Sure. I don't know if Doug Christie knows what the answer is. Hell, I don't know if there is a right answer. But what Toa said about needing to figure it out with the rotation, needing to give these guys some opportunities. I disagree with Toa a little bit on Devin Carter, but that's why we have this show. We debate it, right? But point being, I think the best basketball we have seen from this team, and probably the most sustainable basketball we have seen from this team, was during the winning streak. 9 of 10 that the Kings walked into and then hit a buzzsaw in Milwaukee. What from there, with or without Fox, can Doug Christie pull from and try to reinstill to some of these guys that have been here and install to some of the new guys that are on this team? What's it going to be? And I think that's why this next stretch of basketball up until the All-Star break is so damn important. It all comes down to that. How can you be a 500 team? How can you have playoff aspirations, championship aspirations, if you don't even have an identity? It's very interesting. Super, super interesting. Let's go back to the phones. Adam Uso. Dude, you just had a legit oos here on the show, brother. I know you're in a legit oos too.
I love you, Toa. Sorry, this. God, I gotta move my camera a little bit.
You are loud. Everybody is loud today.
Here, wait. How about that?
There we go. I turned you down. So
I turned me down.
There you go. All right.
You turned me down? Nobody turned
I turned you down, bro.
You're right, dude.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Up, I'm good. I'm feeling good today. I'm off my illness from last week.
Yeah, that was not good.
No.
104 is no bueno, brother.
No, doesn't feel great. But we're good. We're good now. So I think
Love
I
it.
need a little bit of rest. But yeah, this whole, Fox back and forth with Monty. I think the most telling thing was Monk's statements. I think you played yesterday on the show when he was like, no, I haven't talked to Fox, which I'm not sure how much of that I believe, but for him to say that makes me believe him. And for those two to not be talking to each other uh, is off to me, right? Like Monk said, he's the reason why I came here. And so for Fox, like I think Monk feels a little bit betrayed by Fox in that sense. So yeah, screw him. Boo his ass out of the building. See you later, bud. Like for him to be all smiling with Mark Jones at his first Spurs game and all that crap. See you later, dude. You're a fake. You're a phony. Like I said before, you're not a leader. The Spurs will find that out eventually. He'll lose his luster there, and he'll find his way out and be sour about it, and it'll be everyone else's fault. So that's fine. Whatever.
So you said you have a Fox jersey. Did you use an American Express?
No. I actually
Damn.
have 2 Fox jerseys. So both of them. Let's torch him.
I'm not going to advocate burning jerseys here. But
Exactly. We can do whatever we want out here.
Yeah, you do you, Boo. You do you, my man. So no, it should be interesting. I mean, you are in Texas. I know you're closer to Dallas. Tune us in on like the Luka vibes right now.
This town is down bad. It is so bad. Everyone is losing their minds. I only have like a handful of friends, and every single one of them here has a dog named Luca. So I'm they are reeling with the Luca trade right now. But I think they might be pleasantly surprised, and I think it's the same thing. Like if Fox were Supermax eligible here, would we re-sign him for that? I don't think so. And I think that's how Dallas is feeling. Like as we go into this new, salary cap stuff, it handcuffs you to that one player, and it doesn't make sense. Is Luka great? Yeah, but is he? Maybe he is sort of like Fox in that. Does he make the people around him better? I don't know. I think he's a great individual player, but as far as like a great team player, I'm not sure of that.
He's a little bit, I mean, Grant detailed it. I think the national media has done a decent job of talking about the concerns with the diet and the injuries and all that. But he's not the best locker room guy. And look, I don't know if Luka would be better skinny. I don't know if it's better that he's big, but I know that Jason Kidd was tired of it. I know that Nico Harrison was over it. And I don't think enough people are acknowledging. Everybody's like, Luka, 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 Luka. I think there's a big aspect of this that you just hit. Would Dallas have paid him the supermax? The day of handing out supermaxes and handing out $90 million a year for what's going on there?
What?
Oh, I was hearing maybe it's just Gunther yelling at me through your shirt, dude. I was hearing some sounds.
It might be one of my kids. I'm not sure.
By the way, just a quick question.
Say his name and he appears.
Sorry, I had to do that whip around.
I think people are missing the bigger point that might have come off this Luka trade, that the Supermax is not going to be for everybody. The Supermax is not going to be for the best player in every city. Like if Luka might not be good enough for the Supermax, which sounds crazy, but if an organization is thinking about not giving Luka a Supermax, regardless of the problems, what are other players thinking right now? And I think that's part of the shockwave that's going through the NBA, and it's the CBA, man. The CBA is nuts.
Yeah, well, okay, so you've got this Supermax thing in play, but I don't think you have any team that's willing to sign any player now. Like looking at this. So why do we even have this Supermax? Like I don't know. The whole thing is, it's like a dangling carrot that you'll never catch. In my opinion, with maybe they'll find a way. I mean, what are the teams that are going to be able to pay this and be okay with going into that third tier of the luxury tax? I don't think anyone's willing to pay it.
Well, here's the thing. If it's your own free agent, it's a different story. So I think like your SGAs, I think guys of that caliber, it's going to be more likely. Oh, excuse me. It's going to be more likely than not that those guys get it because they're homegrown. But I think the big change here is, and I know Jimmy Butler's kind of in the twilight of his career, but you're going to see shorter contracts for these guys. I think it's going to become the exception to the rule to where we see these 4, 5, 6-year deals. I know 6 years not feasible or possible, but the 4-year deals with a 5th-year option, I think you're going to start seeing shorter contracts and you're going to see more parity. I don't think this trade deadline was going to be like the outlier. I think trade deadlines during this CBA are going to be much more common for this reason only. You can't stack a team anymore. So if it's not working, it's a shorter trial period with guys and you're flipping them around. And we've seen that now for like a year and a half. Minnesota, Western Conference Finals, flips Cat. Like Drew Holiday, I guess Damian Lillard's not a good example. What's that?
They regret that Cat trade, I think.
I think they do as well. Randall has not worked out as well as Cat has worked out in New York, for sure. I see Cat, mate.
I remember that one.
Elk is a legend, dude.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't open it up to you for a couple of minutes to give your thoughts on the I'm just going to lay out. I'm going to let you go for a couple minutes and talk about the Rumble, the biggest stuff that you're looking for coming forward. And I know you love some Penta right now as well.
I do freaking love some Penta, and I loved the men's Royal Rumble last weekend. What a great way to start out with Penta and Ray to have, a sort of passing of the torch, I think, is what we're seeing there. Penta's still 38, so he's no spring chicken, okay? But this dude has, I think, all the makings of a superstar in the WWE. He was the Iron Man of the match, lasted 48 minutes. I absolutely love this guy and what he's doing and what they're doing behind him. I think they're sending a message to AEW like, hey, this is who we are. We can take your mid-carders or tag team champ, and we can turn him into a solid single star. So that was great. I thought, having Joe Hendry go in there at 15, that was awesome.
He got a massive pop.
He did, and he deserves it. And I thought that was so cool. And they did right by him by having Roman Reigns be the one to eliminate him. So you don't discount anything that Joe's done. He got beat by, our tribal chief.
Say his name and he appears.
Agree. I agree with you, my man.
He was great. The only part that sort of irked me was the final 3. I didn't love stupid Logan Paul being a part of the final 3. But that's part of the heat that he gets. Like I talked about last week, like Logan Paul has the kind of heat that I think a Gunther needs. But I think they're working towards that by having Jay win the Royal Rumble. Jay is the most over dude ever right now. And if you watched Monday Night Raw,
it was incredible.
Minutes were yeeting.
Yep.
No dialogue at all.
I never thought that I would see a scene that was similar to WrestleMania 30 after Daniel Bryan won both titles and he's on the announce desk and he's doing the yes, and you just see 60,000 people doing it with him. Every single person in the building at Monday Night Raw was going ape poop for Jey Uso.
And
they were marking out.
Oh, 100%. And they should. Like, the dude is over, and WWE did the right thing here with Royal Rumble, I think, that they let the guy who's the most over in the company right now win. And so, feather in their hat. Yes, there is a there's a triple threat match tonight between Drew McIntyre, Jimmy Uso, and LA Knight for the Elimination Chamber. My only question is, like, why is that the only triple threat to get into Elimination Chamber? Someone was asking earlier, what is the favor from CM Punk and Paul Heyman? I think Roman Reigns ends up winning Elimination Chamber, but Paul Heyman somehow convinces him to give his shot up to CM Punk to headline.
No chance. That's like having Roman Reigns lay down, or no, there's no way. I'm going to spice it up.
He's probably number 2 on most over.
I'm going to spice it up.
Cool.
I think that Roman Reigns wins the chamber, and he has Paul Heyman convinces Roman to go to a triple threat with Jey and Gunther.
Roman for that title?
Yep. And Punk gets his shot at Cody. That's where I'm going.
But then that creates some sort of beef, I think, between Jey and Roman. Not that, I think they're all good, but I don't know.
We'll see.
Man.
We'll see.
Yeah.
By the way, Triple H, 100% responsible for getting the casual fan into Penta with his entrance. His entrance is sick.
The pinwheel firework thing is off the hook. And let's not, that KO Cody match, that ladder match was unreal.
It was good. It was good.
That final Alabama slam with his head stuck between the ladder rungs, and he sold the hell out of it. That was incredible. And then he comes on the next night and pile drives Sami Zayn. That was great.
So here we go. I'm gonna switch topics really quick because I've been mixing these in throughout the show. Do's and don'ts if you're going to a Super Bowl party. Not sure if you're going to a party or not. You might be hosting a party.
I am the party.
Okay. If you go to a party and you bring beer, if you bring soda, if you bring some type of food, unless it is in your dish, which even if it is in a dish that you own, you could still take the food out of that dish and bring your dish home. You got to leave whatever you take to the party. There's no grabbing your beers as you go out the door. It stays at the party.
That's your fee. That's your fee for attending at someone else's home who's hosting. If you've ever hosted a party, sometimes it's exhausting by the end of it, right? Like, yeah, we all have a good time, but then you got to clean up and all that kind of crap. No, if you bring beer, unless it's like some crap I don't want, like, please take it with you because I don't want it taking up space in my fridge. But yeah, that's your fee to entry to come hang out with me.
Yeah, when it's time to go and the last points have been scored, the money from the envelopes with the squares has been handed out, the beer stays there, brother. The soda stays there.
Okay.
Do not do that. Do you have any do's or don'ts for people going to Super Bowl parties?
Don't overextend your stay. How about that one?
Ooh,
when the
that's a good
game
one.
is done, get the hell out of my house. It's 9 o'clock. I mean, for me, I'm on Central Time. It's probably going to push, 9, 10 o'clock by the time the game's over. I'm thinking, get the hell out of my house. The game is over.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
That's a good one, Adam. That's a really good one.
What was the college football game? I think it was a Georgia game that went to like 4 overtimes or something recently. I had a friend over. They were babysitting our kids, so we started watching a game after that, and it went to 4 overtimes. I fell asleep on the couch, and it was probably 1 in the morning here by the time the game finished and they left. And I'm like, don't ever come over again. No, I love him, but yeah.
Well, different rules apply. Like if you have kids, you know, like the kids are the easy excuse. You got to go home because of the kids, or hey, I got to put the kids to bed. That's usually the sign. Now, here's another don't, by the way, y'all. And this is a really casual don't. If somebody gets too sloppy at your party, obviously don't let them drive. But also, if they are that hammered to where like they are not in control and they're stumbling, you got to send a chaperone in the Uber or the Lyft with them. Don't just leave them with an Uber driver. Not a good combination.
No, make sure your people get home okay, but also don't
Yes.
put yourself in that situation too.
I'm with
Granted,
you.
I've been, 23, 24 once upon a time, but yeah, take care of yourself.
23 or 24, you said?
Yeah, once upon a time.
Oh.
Wait, what?
Partied too hard?
It might have been a specific date, like age range for that reason.
Ah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. I thought you were saying okay. You said 23 or 24. I'm thinking last year as in 23, 24 the year.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I was 23 or 24 years old.
Got it. I misunderstood. Dude, Gunther staring me right in the eyes is creeping me the hell out, which means I'm going to get you out. Dude, he had a good promo this week, by the way.
He did have a good promo. He always throws good promos. And yeah, he has nothing to prove to beat Jey Uso again.
Jey Uso.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. All right, brother. Enjoy the weekend. Appreciate you always.
Later, bro.
Good stuff. Adam killing the game. The dude is a Swiss Army knife. He can talk wrestling. He can talk football. He can talk Super Bowl parties. He can also talk Kings. Love it. Speaking of the Kings, I know that is most of what we're here for. A lot of comments about Jake LaRavia. I'm excited to see what he can do. He was introduced today, as well as Jonas Valanciunas. We've got the whiteboard that we're going to go over here in a few minutes. I do want to go over a few things from last night's game before we hit the whiteboard. First, though, Hubie Brown. Hubie Brown is doing his last broadcast this weekend. Before I had the pleasure and honor of working with and calling Jerry Reynolds a friend, Hubie Brown was that dude nationally that I would just, I plugged in to Hubie Brown's commentary. I plugged in to games that he was doing. It made me want to go back and learn more about him as a coach. I was a little rhino, but I remember Hubie Brown coaching. One of the most knowledgeable, classy guys in the NBA. He's doing his last game. He is over 90 years old. Wanted to acknowledge it. Congratulations to Hubie Brown. I have got to ask Jerry Reynolds when he comes on for some Hubie Brown stories. I have never done that. That is something that I absolutely need to do. But Hubie Brown, his commentary, his insight, it is just so good. He has been so good for so long. A lot of you talking about LaRavia. Interesting. LaRavia. Very interesting. No, we have... Oh, I can't put that up. Damn it. No, I have my own whiteboard, by the way, that we talk about. And we look at things from the night before or the game before. LaMelo must-watch TV. LaMelo's good. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. We're arguing about wrestlers now. Okay. Going back to the Stone Cold days. All right. All right. Look, WWE's got to build new stars. That's why Jey Uso and whoever said he's selling a ton of merchandise, absolutely right. Dude is selling a ton of merchandise. So it makes all the sense in the world. I don't know that his match with Gunther is going to be a... Don't think it's going to be a slobber knocker, but I think he will ultimately win the title. All right. So we talked about Jake. The Kings had their formal release and press conference today for him. We also listened to Doug Christie earlier today. Bobby Marks came out with his first round predictions. If the NBA season ended today, there is your first round right there of the draft. The Kings would be picking 12th. How about that? Picking 12th. Too bad the Kings couldn't have got that pick ahead of them in this last trade. How about that? Anyways, don't put much weight into it, but the notes are good. Let me clear my logo here so you can see the notes that are on there as well. It gives you some different things to look for. What matters? Note, Minnesota has if 14 through 30. Tells you how the picks change. Obviously, this is the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. Cooper Flag will be the first pick in the NBA draft this year. Hands down. Now, that's assuming Cooper Flag ends up coming out. I don't see any way, really, he doesn't come out because college basketball, NIL, is much different. And he's making good money, don't get me wrong, but it's much different than college football, NIL. So coming out for Cooper Flag, and if you are not familiar with Cooper Flag, get familiar with him. He's not LeBron James. He's not on that level of hype, but Cooper Flag has been playing basketball at a fairly high level for a long time at his age. He's a American product. By the way, he was with Team USA, not on the actual gold medal team, but he was on one of the select teams who was practicing against Team USA this summer, and a lot of ranting and raving about Cooper's performance there. Cooper also, for those that don't know, works out a ton with Steph Curry. So he has been around Curry for a minute. We talked also about this yesterday. I'm going to put it up one more time. Here are your luxury tax teams. The reason that is important is because those 7 teams are not allowed to sign any of the players on the buyout market if they had a contract of $12.8 million or more. So that is an important thing of note. That's why you saw some of these teams scrambling to get out of the aprons. So we will take that of note. But let's talk about last night really quick. So we really have not dug into the details of this game. And then we're going to go to the whiteboard. As I said, I want to show you a couple things. Last night, very interesting game, 27-27 after the first quarter, 27-23. The Blazers outscored the Kings in the second quarter. And what I found ironic about this one was if you look at the end box and you say, well, you only gave up 27 points. 27 points in the first quarter. Not bad. And you look at the second quarter and you're like, all right, 27. Not bad. You wouldn't be wrong. But if you're going to say that, you also have to look at how those 27 points were scored. And most of those 27 points were scored not because of great shot making, not because of great offense. It was bad defense by the Kings. It was Ole defense. Their defensive scheme made very little sense at if any sense at all. The Kings came out of the gate and they began dropping their wings defensively to help in the post, which made no sense because you're not going to help on DeAndre Ayton. He ain't that guy. Usually not the thing that you do, but they did. And Doug Christie had certain guys on the Blazers circled on the scouting report. These are the hots. You can't leave them open. Or I would assume Doug Christie had those guys circled going into the game, but clearly he didn't, or his players did not execute because guys were helping off of those guys, giving them wide open looks. Scoot Henderson, Avia hitting threes early on. It was a little bit weird to me. Jerry and I talked about it at the half. You let some of these guys get going. You let them step into shots. You let them get confidence. Ultimately, Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons had 2 terrible games. And I mean 2 terrible games against the Kings in both meetings. He didn't have a terrible game this time. Did not have a terrible game. Also, the Kings' pace, not mad at it. The Kings did a pretty good job of pushing the pace in the first half. In fact, I loved when Valanciunas came off the bench. Thought it was awesome. He got 4 looks in his first, I want to say, 4 minutes on the court. I would tell you, he made his first shot. I would tell you on most nights, he's making at least 3 of those. For whatever reason, he missed a couple of easy ones, and it spread throughout the Kings. The Kings missed a ton of easy shots in that first half. And it wasn't just easy shots that they were missing. They were making mistakes that you should never make. Zach LaVine, at the end of the first quarter, was completely unaware of the time that was left on the clock. The clock! It's a Jim Rome thing. Sorry, Jungle Tourette's. And the quarter expired without the Kings getting a shot. It was a shot clock violation. I'm thinking, all right, new guys learning their spots. It happens. Fast forward to the third quarter. It happened again. When you're playing a team that's won 9 of 10, you're on the second night of a back-to-back, and being 500 for the season's on the line, you can't have bad ends of quarters that are due to mental lapses and mental mistakes. Now, one thing that I will give the Kings a lot of credit for is they were fighting. They were fighting hard. They were getting turnovers. They were getting points off of turnovers in the first half. 11 points or 10 points on 11 turnovers by Portland in the first half. But they weren't really forcing them. Portland was just kind of turning it over. And here was the other anomaly of the first half to me. Something that didn't really sit necessarily well. If you look at the stat sheet, you're like, okay, first half, 16 made buckets for the Kings, 10 assists. Not terrible. It was misleading. It was a completely misleading stat. The Kings were not playing with any flow whatsoever. You got a little bit here and there through the pick and roll game, but other than that, it was very disjointed, which, okay, I get. You're integrating new parts. There's going to be turnovers here and there. Domantas Sabonis, a monster inside in the first half. Dude was getting hacked. Got to the free throw line a ton. In fact, 2 guys that had very solid first halves, Domantas Sabonis and Keegan Murray. Keegan came out, had a very good first quarter and second quarter. for the most part. In fact, let me give you their numbers. Keegan Murray, 5 of 9 at halftime, 12 points. Domantas Sabonis, 1 of 4 at halftime, 7 points, 8 rebounds. You want to know how those guys finished? Domantas Sabonis, 2 of 6. He got 2 shots in the second half. Keegan Murray, 5 of 10. He got 1 shot in the second half. Unacceptable. Can't happen. Cannot happen. Also, Domas, foul trouble, not his fault. That was on the guards, 100%. The screens that were being set were good screens. The guards were not using them. I showed you an example last night of what a good screen looks like and what happens when you don't use a screen. Well, guess what? It happened. Domas picked up 3 different fouls. 3 different fouls. And I don't blame him for it. You know why? Much like a receiver going over the middle, much like a receiver going over the middle of the field and a quarterback putting the ball too high and laying his receiver out, that's what you're doing for a big man. When they are setting a screen on the perimeter for you in the pick and roll game and you don't use the screen properly, any type of movement from that big man at that point, because they're going to try to get you a little bit of advantage, they're going to adjust to what the defender's doing. Any type of movement is highlighted by the officials. It will be called a moving screen more times than not. And that is a call that goes both ways for both teams. And it happened to Domas too many times last night. Way too many times. Here's the other thing that was a problem. And I talked earlier in the show about this. You're asking guys to create who are not creators. That is a big problem. Doug Christie is going to have to figure out what he is going to do about that in the interim. It can't continue happening. There is no offense going on. You have guys standing and watching. Nobody is cutting. You have the excuse of the first 2 games. I'm not burying this team. I expect some road bumps when you integrate new pieces. Hell, this is the first time the Kings have had a true 2-guard on their team, a legit scorer. This team has never played with a legit scorer at the 2-guard position like Zach LaVine. And guess what? Zach LaVine's game, just like De'Aaron Fox, had a really tough adjustment period to learning how to play off the basketball. You're asking Zach LaVine to play with the basketball as the point guard, not his game. He's a slasher. He's a cutter. He's a guy that comes off screens. Now, he can play make. He can make his own room when he needs to, but it's not one of those things where he should ever run point. Sabonis should run point. Keon Ellis running point. Devin Carter cannot run point at this point. And so it really threw things off for these guys. You can see the wheels turning. You can see how uncomfortable some of them were last night. And then we get to the end of the third quarter. The end of the third quarter it's where the Kings lost the game. There's no other way to put it. Malik Monk goes out of the game. And by the way, Malik actually played decently. I don't have a massive problem with the way he played. 21 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. But there is one thing that is bothering me about him that we'll talk about with the film or with the whiteboard here in a second. But Malik goes to the bench, y'all, with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left. The Kings in the third quarter. The Kings have a 6-point lead. A 6-point lead. What happens? The Blazers go on a 12-0 run, which includes the end of a third quarter where Zach LaVine, which I just talked about, Zach LaVine was not aware of the clock. And for me, I have no idea how he was not aware of the clock, because the Portland Trailblazers used their foul to give with like 1.2, 1.3 seconds left. All I can assume is, one, Zach's a little gassed. He's getting comfortable. And two, he's out of sorts. He's being asked to do different things than he was asked to do for the most part in Chicago. Again, understandable. But the whole that we've talked about leading up to this trade deadline, we talked about last year, that we talked about even to a degree, I'm going to give Grant credit, the trade deadline of the Beam team, when Josh Hart was available, Grant said this team needs a true point guard. And he's absolutely right. And it's something they have never had. They have never had a legit true point guard. Don't tell me it's Dellavedova. Don't tell me it's McLaughlin. It's not. They have never had one that can play significant minutes. And they've also drafted guards that are not point guards, but not shooting guards. And they haven't just done it once. They've done it twice, 3 times, right? So on the buyout market, they've got to go get a point guard. There's no way that you cannot go get a point guard. You have to get a point guard. Here's the second thing that needs to happen. And I've said it earlier in the show, if you're just joining us. There is no time left. No time left for Doug Christie to teach these guys how to play. It is now time to put some structure into this offense. You could do that with guys that have been together for 2 years, 3 years, like the Beam team was before De'Aaron was traded. Now, some of your more significant parts. I disagree, Gerardo. I think Hallie is really kind of in between too. He's closer to a Fox than he is an SGA or a true point guard. I don't agree with that. Anyways, getting back to the point. Doug Christie is going to have to put something in to get some chemistry with these guys. In order to light a fire, you got to have tinder. You got to have 2 sticks to rub together. So whether it's in the short term, whether it's in the long term, you've got to do what's best for these guys and put some structure in. That's what Zach LaVine needs. That's what Valanciunas needs to a degree. You can't just roll the basketball out there with new parts that are unfamiliar. And now you have another one coming in with Jake, who a lot of you are very high on. So by the time that Malik Monk came back in the game, it was done for the most part. The Kings made another run here and there at it, but it was out of reach. The Trailblazers had already hit their stride, got their third wind, caught fire, and were ready to go. And ready to win. And I'm not even focusing all that much on the defense. That was another big problem. And here's another thing that's driving me nuts. I love Debo. I love Debo, y'all. I love Debo. But the toe on the three-point line is the worst shot in basketball. Debo knows it. Every coach knows it. If you played basketball, your coach probably yelled at you for it. And it's happening so many times this season. I would love to see that cleaned up. But at the end of the day, 2 big questions, 3 big questions. What can Doug do with the defense? Because the perimeter defense and even the game plan last night was atrocious from the start of the game. Number 1, What are you going to do there? Number 2, what are you going to do to bridge the minutes when Malik Monk is off the court? Asking Zach LaVine right now to run point, not the right answer. Asking Debo to run point, probably the closest thing to an answer, but still not the right answer. Asking Sabonis to facilitate, definitely not the right answer. You need Sabonis down low. That is what he does best, and this team needs offensive rebounding more than it ever has. So Doug Christie is going to have to turn to, in my opinion, somebody other than Devin Carter until the Kings can hopefully sign somebody on the buyout market. Third thing, we talked about it, structure in the offense. It's got to be, again, you can't start a fire without 2 sticks in tinder. And rolling the ball out there is not going to start the fire. So whether it's a couple sets here and there, you got to do better at it. So I know I just spit a ton of stuff at you. Those were my overall thoughts about last night. And no, I am not down on this team. I am not whatsoever. I am actually excited to see them come out tomorrow. And it's going to be a really good test tomorrow. Do not get mistaken. That team is not the same team that the Kings saw in New Orleans a month and a half ago. Let's go to the drawing board really quick. All right. So a couple things that I want to point out from last night. We've got 3 plays that I want to go through that illustrate some of my points. Now, Jay called last night, and Jay's like, bro, it's an ISO play. Jay's not wrong. It does look like an ISO play, but it was not an ISO play. It just so happened that Valanciunas got the ball like that, and the guys gave him some space. What Valanciunas was expecting from here was these guys to cut. Nobody was cutting. It was the second time that we had seen it all season. At least Malik Monk here. That wasn't a very good draw. Come on, Ryan. At least Malik Monk right here looks ready to catch the ball. He looks ready to cut if he needs to. Keegan Murray. That's not Keegan's best spot. You know where Keegan belongs? Keegan belongs over here in the corner. It's where he shoots his highest percentage. It's also where he gets a ton of easy dunk looks right here on the baseline. A ton of lob looks. Because what happens is this defender over here will inevitably come try to help on Valanciunas. How about Devin Carter in this picture? Devin Carter is gassed. As I get some of this down. Devin Carter right here, he's got his hands on his knees. He's gassed. He's not cutting. And I went back and watched the game for a second time. That's why I'm pointing some of these things out to you. And then you've got Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine in the corner. I don't have a problem with where Zach LaVine's at. But here's the problem that I have. It's an awful passing angle. How is Jonas going to get that ball to Zach LaVine? You're not. And all I'm saying here is there's some very simple things. If this would have been De'Aaron Fox, if this would have been the Beam team, this would have been guys that have been playing together for 2.5 years, you know what's going to happen? These guys are going to switch places. Keegan Murray is either going to switch with Devin Carter, or this is going to happen. Devin Carter is going to come down here, set a screen. Keegan Murray, come down here, set a screen. You get Zach LaVine coming up to the top, and now you have Keegan Murray in the corner. So, again, that goes to familiarity. But instead, Valanciunas had to pound the ball for 3, 4, 5 seconds. He's looking around on this play. Like, literally, if you go back and watch the game, he is looking for somebody to do something. And nobody did. You know what ended up happening? He threw a grenade out. Keegan Murray got a shot clock violation. So turnover. That was a problem. So that is an illustration of how you cannot just assume these guys are going to be able to know each other and know what to do. How is Zach LaVine going to know Keegan's best in the corner? How does Devin Carter and Keegan Murray know that Zach LaVine likes to come off of pin down screens? And you've got a perfect opportunity for two of them right there. You don't. Nobody's moving. At least Malik Monk is in position on this play. All right, let's go to our next one. Let me get this one down. We will go to our next play. Let's go to the offensive end of the ball. When I am talking to you guys about setting proper screens, I am showing you this, and I showed this on the post-game show. This is an example right here of how a ball screen is supposed to be used. What happened here is DeMar DeRozan was up here. He came right off of Valanciunas' shoulder. So now the floor is open perfectly. The floor is open perfectly to DeMar to have some down room area to either go against Jeremy Grant, or there might be Kamara right there, or make a play for somebody. Don't have a huge problem with guys not moving. Now, let me show you the opposite of what was happening. What was happening was Sabonis is, instead of DeMar coming right off this shoulder like he is with Valanciunas, look at this. He's right off his shoulder. Instead, you had guys setting ball screens out here and coming off of them like that, which means your big men so many times will take a step out and try to get you an extra touch, to try to get you a little bit of contact, give you an advantage. And it wasn't happening. But this here is an example of how the pick and roll screens have got to be. It's what you've got to do. It's a great screen by Valanciunas. And by the way, when I say that Sabonis sets the best screens in the NBA, Valanciunas ain't much further behind him. He can set a bone-rattling screen. He really can. All right, let's fast forward. I just showed you an example of a really, really good screen, right? Here is an example last night of a very, very bad screen. Now, to be clear, this happens from time to time. Guys will reject the screen. That happens. You do that maybe once every 10 plays to keep the defense honest. But look at the advantage that Zach LaVine could have had he come off this Sabonis screen. Sabonis is exactly where he wants to be. Sabonis is in his freaking wheelhouse right here. He is in his sweet spot, because when Sabonis sets a screen right here, it's either a super quick roll to the hoop like that, or here's the other thing that could have happened last night. Sabonis is great at this. It's another thing you do every couple of plays. Instead of staying there, if you're Sabonis, seeing if Zach is going to take the screen, you do what's called slipping the screen. So Zach LaVine clearly has both of these guys' attention right here. It's time for Sabonis to dive to the rim. Right there. But unfortunately, because of lack of playing time together, you just don't know. But the only way that you can know is if you structure some stuff. You don't have time to practice. The Kings have 0 practice time. Let me repeat that. They have 0 practice time between now and the All-Star break. So I feel like Doug has no choice but to structure some things. Last one, y'all, and we'll be done with the whiteboard. Look at this defense. Look at this. That is one of the hots last night. This was in the first quarter. You wonder how teams get off to really good starts. There were no pick and rolls here. The ball was legitimately swung from here to there. And Keon Ellis, look at the space right here between Keon Ellis and Simons. It's impossible. You can't have it. Or excuse me, I think that's Avia. So, excuse me, and he hit a couple threes right off the bat. Look at the space. He is not a threat to drive. The Kings constantly gave that much space last night in the first, second, third quarters to guys. And no, it was not zone defense. This was man-to-man defense. The Kings were not in zone. Understandable if you're in zone. The Kings were not in zone. I can promise you that. So, Sabonis switched here with Levine. You have a mismatch because Levine's on Grant. Sabonis is tracking him here while also keeping an eye on ball. So, bad defense all around. You've got to put a different type of defense in. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my whiteboard and some of the things that I saw last night that somewhat illustrate the things that I have concerns about. Baki, what's up tonight?
Hey, I couldn't resist to talk to you and those situational things. So, is it possible you can bring back that first situation with let's say isolation thing?
I already deleted it, so I cannot.
Oh, okay, we remember it. So,
I mean,
the
I
problem
can
is-
I can draw it really quick for you if you want. Keep talking.
No, so the problem is you have Valanciunas watching development of that possession. So everybody are standing and nobody cuts and nobody moves. So you get to the point when you're gonna decide to finish the job yourself. So what the defense of Portland or any other team is gonna do is if you take any of the player who is superstar on the back of Valanciunas, you're gonna leave him like that, and you're gonna play one-on-one as the defensive team. But let's say if you have Sabonis, who is really, I mean, the guy is crazy about the rim, so he's gonna make you work very hard in order to defend the basket. So in that situation, you have the other player from Portland who's guarding, I think, Keegan. Yeah, on the top of the screen, it was a Keegan. So the player is gonna double. So if you have lower size player on the back on Valanciunas, somebody's gonna double. So what will happen then? And then you're gonna see the real situational using of zone 3 and 2, where all the other players from Portland's gonna move towards the basket, moving like that somebody will leave a rookie alone. There you go. So if you put those two guys, let's say you put two guys on Valanciunas or Sabonis, whatever it is, you're gonna leave Keegan Murray open on the court. So they don't gonna do that like that. So they're gonna move and they're gonna switch and they're gonna put 3-on-2 with the last player is gonna guard maybe on, I don't know, meter or two on Keegan Murray. So they will leave our rookie alone, and they're gonna live with that. They can live with that, leaving Carter on the 3-point line, and to see what's gonna be next move from the Kings, because they move the ball. And the weakest point here is you can pass the ball to Keegan Murray if they double. You can pass the ball, but they will switch and they will stop that. They will stop Malik and they will stop. On the top of the corner was Levine. Okay, so I made a mistake. So you're gonna stop Levine, you're gonna stop Malik, you're gonna stop Keegan Murray, and you're gonna double. So you're gonna leave open the weakest point on the offense of the Kings would be a rookie. So this is the situation when you can go 3 players, you can pass the ball to the 3 players, but if you're going to pass the ball to Carter, there is no chance it's going to be safe pass. So that's the thing a lot of teams are doing against the Sacramento when going to this situation. But you're not going to see the situation like this when Sabonis is. There is no way you're going to see. There is no way you're going to see that.
He's not that player.
I'm calling Shaquille and Vlade post thing. So you're gonna see isolation thing like that. Somebody will try to, and they are always try to steal the ball from Sabonis when he is handling the ball low on the low post, and the high post is as well. So they are making life very difficult for Sabonis when he needs to play with the back on the board. So that's a great point for the defensive point of view. So Portland can live with this all the way, all the game, no problem. They're gonna. So I don't know who is guarding right now Valanciunas in that position, but playing one-on-one with the player who is got first day in the office, it's great for me. I will live it like that.
For sure. Appreciate the insight, Baki. Anything else?
No.
All
Great
right,
show.
brother.
This is the longest one you have. I don't know. Go on.
Maybe the Kings are tuning in. Who knows? All right, brother. Appreciate you.
Okay. See you.
Baki is not wrong. There's a lot of different things that'll happen. He is right. This look is a little bit unique to Valanciunas, but this is where teams play differently sometimes when you have different units. It's important to remember that. Look at how traditionally when De'Aaron Fox was here in town, look at how the Kings would play when Malik Monk was coming off the bench. It was all dribble handoff. We call it DHO around here. It's when Sabonis has the ball at the top and a guard or somebody comes around him and he has the choice to either hand it off, dribble it, or shoot it. But when Malik would come in, it would be a pick and roll game with Sabonis. So when you have Valanciunas on the court, yeah, great. You can do different things. And I think Baki brings up a good point. The defense has to adjust. That's what you want to do. You want the defense to have to see different looks. You want the defense to have to think about how they're going to guard you. Last night, Portland did not have to think about how they were going to guard the Kings. It was really simple. Follow the basketball. That's it. Follow the basketball, call out the screens, and or switch. That's what it was. So more time on the court together, and I'm not trying to bury this team. The point I'm trying to illustrate is there's a lot of room for growth here. So people thinking that this thing's done, these guys can't play together. No. There's parts of truth to all of it. These guys need more time together. Todd or somebody said they need practice time. Completely agree. You don't have it until the All-Star break, but to bridge it over until then, and yes, they're professionals. They know what to do. They know each other's games for the most part. You know why? Because they've played against each other and it's on a scouting report. But you play 82 games in a season, so you're not going to remember everyone. Now, guys like Devin Carter, newer to the game, he's played only a handful in his career. One thing that's on his is pressure him when he has the ball. He either makes a bad decision, going to the hoop, takes up a bad shot, or sends somebody a grenade. It's what's happened more times than not that's on the film. And I'm not trying to bury that young man either. I think he is going to be I think his defense is great. I think his defense is really good. He's making normal mistakes defensively that rookies make. Offensively, though, the game is too fast for him right now. Usually you have summer league. You have a little bit of G League. You have time to build up, and then 82 games to figure it out. Usually up until the All-Star break, you're usually getting it right. For him, he didn't have any of those things. So it's a difficult position. Baki wants to come on really quick. One more second. All right, Baki, go ahead.
Hey, Reno, how about the newest call during the game, and this time from Kyle Draper? I just want to know what do you think about it. So it says the side jump midi.
The side jump midi?
Yeah.
That's funny. I love Drapes. I think he's good. I actually reached out to Drapes a couple of games ago against
But
Orlando.
he never used it. Never before.
You know
before
what?
Mark Jones. Never before Mark Jones. Never.
When Drapes during the Orlando game said, "Man, that's a bail bondsman 3," I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that is freaking gold." I had to let
great.
Kyle know
He's
that.
great. He's a passionate, but
Yeah,
those
love Kyle's
middies,
passion.
those middies, I don't know.
Yeah, a young Gucci that can go away very quickly. Mark. Anyways, thanks, Bucky.
But
so, anyways, again, just very simple things that I would expect to see next game. See him next game. You can. Again, very basic things. There are things that suits everybody's fancy here. Number one, normally Valanciunas can go to work in this position. He can. He'd rather pass because he's a great passer. Fine. All good. Monk, you can, if it's not working, he's got a bad post there. You kick the ball back out to Monk, and then you bring it back to Valanciunas. You repost it. So that's basketball 101. Those guys know that. But Zach likes to come off screens. He's a shooter. He likes to be on movement. So why not, again, come down, set a double stagger screen right here. You bring Zach up to the top of the key. You put the defense a little bit into a switch situation. And then, because Keegan is setting this top screen right here, Keegan goes on to the corner. So now you have Zach LaVine and you have Keegan Murray in their two preferred positions. And that's going to come with more time. But to throw some gasoline on that fire, if you're Doug Christie, you got to draw some of this stuff up for him. You got to do it. So there's some good things coming from this team, but not if you just roll the ball out. You got to do more than that, in my opinion. And that is Rhino's Whiteboard. Hope you enjoyed it. Man, it has been a marathon of a show today. What a couple of weeks. Thank you all for the immense support, hanging in there, watching the shows, definitely downloading, catching us when you can. We can't thank you enough. Can't thank you enough for everything. We just passed 8,000 subscribers. That has been absolutely amazing as well. By the way, Grant is back here in 3 hours. Make sure you join him. 8 o'clock tonight. Open forum tonight with Napes. Whatever you want to talk about. He will talk Super Bowl. He will talk Kings. He'll talk buyout market. Your choice. Dealer's choice. Open phones. Open chat. He will be taking your questions 8 p.m. tonight. Make sure you join him. By the way, speaking of Grant and myself and the channel and the growth, one of the people that has been just a massive help to us, especially on the back end, it's Max. Max with Envision Web Design. He has been helping us for the last 2 seasons. And Max knows what the hell he is doing. Max has educated me in things when it comes to websites and design and attracting new customers, getting people to stop that others have never pointed out to us. And by the way, he's incredibly accessible, super accessible. Like if Max pops into your head, he's already calling you. That's how accessible Max is. So if you have a business, if you have a website, if you're looking to take your online presence to the next level, Envision Web Design specializes in creating stunning custom websites that don't just look great, but deliver real results. They do. They absolutely do. And we hit Max actually with some things that we didn't think were possible. We're like, Max, can you do this? Can you do that? Not a problem. He was able to do it. So whether you need a sleek, mobile, responsive design, SEO optimization to boost your search rankings, or advanced features like commerce integration, we needed that. Envision Web Design has got you covered. They're dedicated to helping businesses like yours stand out online and attract more customers. If you give Max a call right now, 916-905-4293, or you go to envisionwebdesigns.com, you can book a totally free consultation right now with Max and the team there. Let Max and the team at Vision Web Design bring your vision to life. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring, in part, today's episode of The King's Court. That's it. We made it through another week. We did it. Good job, y'all. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for all of the support as the camera goes out. Hey, did you know if you missed the start of the show, we had breaking news. The breaking news is sources close to the Ryan and Sacktown household have confirmed that Mrs. Rhino has approved the purchase of a new webcam. So the flickering, all that's going to be gone. We're getting it tied up. So we are good to go there. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Should be a lot of fun. But before the Super Bowl, hey, don't forget, yeah, right? Go home to mommy. Nobody knows. I can't play that one here. I wish I could. It starts a fire, man. Yeah, I just can't do it. I can't do it. But we are going to be back tomorrow with full coverage of the team, beginning with the pregame show, 6:15 tomorrow night. We'll have halftime with Jerry, postgame with Grant and myself. But before all that, do not forget Napes here at 8 o'clock tonight. Wow, what a weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Remember the do's and don'ts of going to or hosting Super Bowl parties. If you weren't with us earlier, are you going to bet the octopus? Yes. There is a prop bet called the octopus. It's betting on one player to score the 6 points of a touchdown and the 2 points of an 2-point conversion. Has to be the same player. You can get it at plus 1,400 at Caesars. Don't go to FanDuel. It's plus 1040. If the octopus doesn't sound good to you, why don't you do the scoregami? Yeah, the scoregami. Bet that the Super Bowl will have a score that has never occurred before in an NFL game. Scoregamis are becoming more and more common, by the way. There were 6 last season in the regular season, 1 in the playoffs when the Texans beat the Chargers. Hilarious. So be safe. Enjoy the Super Bowl, whether you're taking the Eagles, whether you are taking the Chiefs. Hard to go against number 15, but Kings before that. New Orleans tomorrow. Different New Orleans team than you have seen. Hell, that New Orleans team they put together never played one game together. Incredible. Talk about injury-ridden. But still a damn good team rolling into town tomorrow. Should be interesting. Join Grant tonight. He'll talk more about it. And again, epic rant from Grant tonight. Good job by him. Make it a great rest of the evening. Go Kings. Light the damn beam. For the people that were asking, I saw somebody say, what was your tagline during the summer? It was Go Kings. Light the damn beam. Stay the hell away from Levine. Yes, that was the line. Now, the line was that because Levine and Fox, not a good combination.
You play to win the game.
And you would not be winning the game with those two. Different circumstances now. We'll see how it works out. But go Kings, light the beam. We will see you. Grant will see you here in just about 2 hours, 45 minutes. Make sure you come, give him a good time, and hit him up with some of your questions. His opinions much different than mine. All right, court is dismissed here on a Friday.